All right. All right. Let's see what we got going. Okay. Let's just make sure everything is set up. I guess it is. So I guess we're just going to let her rip. And now apparently she's ripping. Maybe. And so I guess I'll send it out. Okay. There we go. Something's happening. I think a thing is happening over here. Hello. So, I guess I'll wait for some bodies to roll in. While I'm doing that, let's take a look at Valor Media. This is Counterpoints' other project, so we're going to be reviewing the debate that Andrew Wilson and Counterpoints had. I'm not gooning. Wait a minute, can I do a thing? Hey, I did a thing. Look at that. We got some movement happening over here. I can do a little thingy right there, put it up. Hey, I'm getting fancy over here. So, Counterpoints had a debate. I've been making videos on Counterpoints for like the last year and a half. Yeah. Let me just show you, as some bodies are rolling in, what Valor Media Network is. So this is what Counterpoints also lends his name to. And, you know, he really sold his soul to like work with Progressive Victory and work with Destiny. But on one hand, Counterpoints is like, Trump is so bad. I can't believe that anyone could support Trump as he works with Destiny, as he, you know, sold his soul. And for what? For what, actually? What is he getting out of it? Because, like, he's not generating revenue.
I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy.
This is what it's like. This is what it's like for your boy Counterpoints, okay? It's incredible.
But what you're talking about is you're probably talking about 6 to 9 months of investigative work.
Now I can't believe
talking about maybe
this
3 to 4 months of a
hasn't
public
been going
presentation, and you're also talking
so well for him, okay? I don't really know what his demographic is necessarily. Is there like really a market for like the Kamala Harris like white dudes, where it's like there's white dudes that are like, well, the left wants to kill me, but I still want to be on the left as long as I'm not racist. So like, is that the demographic? I mean, so I get that these guys are veterans and whatnot, sure, but I just don't understand where this is supposed to go. Let me look at some of their shorts.
He knew he was going to lose the vote on releasing the files. So to try to save face, he tells the Republican Party to go ahead and vote for it. And it goes down, what is it, 537 to 1 or 47 to 1, whatever it was. Knowing that had he not done that, it would have looked 20 times worse. I think what shocked President Trump was the speed of which the Senate got that thing through because there was this hope that he hoped that John Thune and company were going to be like, yeah, we're going to hold off against this. Didn't even bother. It was like crap through a goose. Got to his desk. They put a lid on the press corps, meaning that's terminology saying they sent the press home before the bill got to the White House. So there'd be no pictures, no statements.
So the goal is like what? Right-wing TDS? Is that what it is? Crucial. Absolutely crucial. So I also have to like I don't have Fist here to help me. I'm all alone. I'm all by myself. Oh, you know, it's only a 4-hour debate, so clearly I'll be able to cover this in, 10 hours right now. I'm just kidding, of course. So I guess we'll just start to get into it. I mean, so the debate's about, is Christian nationalism good or bad? Is it good for the country? Should we have Christian nationalism? Now, I bill myself as an atheist, liberal, civic nationalist, right-winger, okay? Very confusing, I know. Atheist, I just don't have the metaphysical belief in a God. I'm very pro-Christian, as you can tell with my religious audience, okay? Helps me, you want to know what it is? I've been lied to so much, and I just realized that in like the past few months, where I'm like, hey, it's really hard for me to just jump and join a team. Let me just have a really neutral position. And then I say liberal because I'm like a free speech extremist, but like actual individual like liberalism that got, bastardized. And I know the argument that like that just leads to communism. I understand that, universalism and everything like that. But like, I guess the non-bastardized version, it's just a neutral position, essentially, is what I mean by that. And then I say civic nationalist because when I made that Nick Fuentes video, there was people that are like, yeah, he's like a civic nationalist, so you kind of like agree with him. He said that he's not a white nationalist. And it's like, I'm getting very mixed signals. I say civic nationalist because I want a big tent, open door. We're advocating for white people, but we're going to be in a multicultural society for the rest of our lives. So I want a tenable position I can get behind. Pretty much is those things. We got Soul on the Lich for 100 R's. 100 R's. Good evening, crimers and queer-coded Zimzers. Well, thank you. And we got Master Shake became a YouTube member. Thank you. I might actually pretty soon be covering a hard R drama that happened. There was a hard R that blocked me. So I might do a members only hard R stream to cover the drama that happened with that. Yeah. So Christian nationalism, I'm pretty pro Christian nationalism just based on what I've heard. I don't think it's scary. I don't think racism is scary or that it exists. Same thing with anti-Semitism. Those are just anti-white terms to me. So I don't know, like I could live, I would be fine being a second-class citizen under a Christian theocracy, even to like the scary kind of Christian nationalism that they're talking about. I'd be fine with that. I don't think it would be too difficult. To go Chi 284 became a YouTube member. Excellent. Very cool, very neat. Yeah, so we're just gonna get into it. I got some timestamps. I'm gonna try and cover 4 hours as well as I possibly can. We're gonna put this at, I think 1.35 is very fair. So as always, like how I edit things, I just hop into the point that starts to be interesting to me. So let's just try that out.
The proposition here that matters ultimately is a political proposition. What we're arguing about here is political paradigms. The political paradigm of the status quo versus the political paradigm of Christian nationalism and what Christian nationalism is and wants for the country, and if that's good. The thing is that whether or not it's true has no bearing really on anything ultimately, because whether or not there's any truth in the Constitution, the rights which you're given has no bearing. They're axiomatically correct to the people who hold them, and that's that. So we can see this, for instance, When we have the Declaration of Independence, we see these axioms come out, and what do they base the axioms on? God, right? These are axiomatic rights which are given to you. We believe that these are based on God. So without God,
And so even when I say I'm a liberal, I understand that it's based on a Christian morality. And then, further on the right wing, it's like, well, that was meant for white Christians. Completely understand that. And I even support it. Definitely.
this God character, there is no axiom from which to ground rights. So we have to agree that that's a starting position. So if go ahead.
Real quick though, I don't. Yeah, let me hit that real quick. So I agree that rights are pretty much only as good as you can enforce them, right?
Mhm.
So freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, right to self-defense, limited government, and a constitution. That doesn't mean shit if you live in an authoritarian society. So it's only as true as we believe them to be true. However,
So we're going to notice that Connor, when he has to talk about Christian nationalism, is going to be a sneaky little boy and always insert authoritarian Christian nationalism because, he's center right, okay? And center just means left. It always feels like that. And so he's always going to try and make it seem scarier than it actually is. Spoiler, they're not really going to get to what his fears are about Christian nationalism that are valid or realistic.
I would say that we can observe the way that authoritarian societies operate. We can observe the way in which
Well, I mean, they
liberal
operate
libertarian
fine.
societies operate.
They operate fine.
We can make a moral judgment on which one we prefer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that you can make judgments based around preferences for societies you wish to live in. I'm not really so sure that that the progressive status quo isn't particularly authoritarian. I think it is, and I think we just have to.
So I always love Andrew Wilson's approach where he will cede ground in whatever their criticism is of his system or worldview. He will say that this already exists with your system and worldview, and they never know what to do about it because it's always kvetching, TDS, and it's like, well, so what's the other option? And even though it's almost like the capitalism versus communism debate, where communism, when you're defending capitalism, it's something that exists and is flawed. And so, how do you attack communism, this perfect idea they have in their head? And so he kind of does that when his position is attacked, where he's like, well, this is already happening. Like, look at all the corruption that's already happening. So he's not saying that his worldview is going to be perfect. There's going to be corruption like there always is. I find that as a very good strategy. Quizits Chatterack for $5, mate. I can't shake the Aussie out of me. Debates are gay. Nietzsche, not Nietzsche, right? Nietzsche talks about this. Does he? Does he call them gay? Is that really what he said? Here's the thing. Debates aren't gay. How debates are done now are gay because there's audience capture. Everyone's on a team. Everyone's very atomized. And so at some point, so this is from Cool Vic's stream. This is his second time hosting a debate. And this is the debate he's hosting. So very courageous man. But I'd like to at some point possibly collaborate with him. I have an idea in my head of how I want to do debates. I kind of want to make it so I've said before I want to do mud sports instead of blood sports. Make it fun. And there used to be a hippy dippy roundtable on Twitch with I forget what his name is. But I do want it to be wrestling themed where we have cage matches for a debate. Instead of thinking there's these rules for debate, I want us to make the rules for a debate. So there could be a cage match, right? There could be a no DQ. There could be tag team matches. I really want to introduce that element into debates to make it fun. Probably the first debate I want to do is boobs versus butts, right? Boob men versus butt men. I'm a boob guy. I know I'm in the minority. All right. I'm an atheist, liberal, civic nationalist. Okay. I'm pitting myself to be the villain and having very hard to defend positions. So I'm excited to do that in the future. Big Nick Digger 801. Being gay is gay. He's talking about this. Try and get around that. Try and get around that argument.
Look back to COVID to note, if you're thinking about a fascist dystopia, what are the things you think of? They can come in and shut your business down whenever they want to. They can make you wear state mandated clothing, right? Which they did and called masks. They can make you have travel papers so that you can go to and from work, which they did, called COVID passports. And they can mandate things which you do with your body from external uses, like they did with vaccines. They can also shut down your church whenever they want for the interest of the public good. And the thing is that sounds way more like a fascist dystopia than fucking anything I've heard Christian nationalists propose, to be perfectly frank with you. On top of that, Connor, let's point this out. That's the fascist dystopia. Okay. We lived in it. And it was all promoted by the status quo leftists. And the thing that's really funny about this is like, what is it that Christian nationalists are really proposing that you're even against? The truth is that you guys wanted universal suffrage. The progressives wanted it in the worst way, and they've been fighting for it, and they're still fighting right this second and under the status quo to expand it. I've heard it even like 16-year-olds should be able to vote. That's a real thing. You see it in Western Europe already. It was passed in a couple of countries there, and that's coming here too. They want to expand it to people who have been disenfranchised.
I'm sorry. We have a face, then ass, then boobs. I want you in the ring, okay? I want you in the squared circle, if that's what you're saying.
Because there were felons and all sorts of things which should prohibit them from voting. If you give a stake to every human being, Connor, right, then what's going to end up happening is they're going to be able to vote out and vote in rights, meaning things that they prefer whenever they feel like it. Well, if your largest fucking voting bloc is Christians, which it is, then you're at the mercy of the thing you did, dude. You're at the mercy of that.
Yeah, of course. I've never been an advocate for direct democracy. That's realistically. I'm gonna.
That's not the status quo then.
You gave me a lot, so I want to give some of it back. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna work in reverse order. Okay. In my ideal world of worlds, I would actually make everybody take a citizenship test. I think you should have to pass that in
Starship Troopers, Connor.
Yes, unironically.
Yeah, okay.
And if I could,
was that a fascist government though, Connor?
Actually, technically, no.
Yes, it was. But anyway,
no, not. Are we talking about book or movie, man? Because if you want to talk about fascism, number one, I know Jim Keel pretty good. Number two, I know Starship Troopers pretty good.
Yeah, the whole critique was a critique on fascism. It just ended up sounding so cool.
Yeah,
when
but
it was
Verhoeven doesn't know what Paul Verhoeven, the director of the movie, he doesn't know what fascism is. So
yeah, but in the books, it also looked very appealing, honestly.
Well, yeah, but the books were effectively, I hate to say this, but it was a minarchist society. The private society was like libertarian with a tax rate, and you could do whatever you want within the private society. But then the volunteer society was militarist, where you had to do a certain amount of service in order to gain the franchise.
And those were the ones who could vote.
Right. Listen, man, I know that compared to the Wignats, Chris Nats, dissident right-wing people, and Trump people, I'm to the left of you guys, but I'm telling you, I don't claim conservative arbitrarily. I don't claim conservatarian.
Well, I understand. I guess getting to the meat of it, though, I'm not making the claim that you're some big leftist. I'm just saying.
So you'll notice that Andrew tries to get to the meat of it pretty often, and really all Connor has is obfuscation, which it seems like he's learned from his leftist counterparts with his work at Progressive Victory and spending time with Destiny.
What is the actual proposition here that we're quibbling over for Christian nationalism if it's the case that we're enfranchised because progressives made us enfranchised and we can vote in or out whatever the fuck we want?
You asked me a question to that point that I want to answer. So you said, what are Christian nationalists advocating for that's more authoritarian than what people did during COVID? And to give you a full answer on that, COVID was largely a temporary measure. We don't have to wear the state mandated clothing anymore. We don't have to present our vaccine passports. We don't have to.
So Connor's argument is, see, it's gone now. See, it's over now. It didn't last forever. That authoritarianism was just temporary. It's not like they just try and do it strategically in spurts or anything. And Andrew's going to have a very right-wing view of power, which my stream co-host, Newsfist, has made me very aware of, where there's power. And the right talks about power openly, and they go, these are the rules, okay? This is what power is, and we're going to abide by that, just like the left is doing. So whatever argument you have against that is illegitimate.
We don't have limited travel when it comes.
A big Nicky Diggy, veiny dongs, then biceps, then afros fight me. Honestly, I have a very unpopular opinion. I promise you I'm straight. I promise. Please believe me. Please believe me. I think penises are cuter than vaginas. Let's play this video more and ignore that I said that.
Comes to travel, all of that stuff was temporary. And by the way, 1.1 million excess deaths did occur between 21 and 22. You don't have to get into the details, but if that's a fatality rate effectively of like 0.3% of the United States population, even with all the.
Okay, this kills me. Whenever someone brings up COVID, this is why it's so hard for me to debate. I can't take the COVID stuff seriously because now let's just do a timeline of COVID, okay? This is how you have to believe the COVID numbers. So 1 million people died of COVID in the United States. And it just seems like, remember during COVID where it was like, oh, people of color are more negatively impacted from COVID, okay? Let's do a time lapse of COVID by continent, by world region. So we're seeing China off to an early start for some reason. And then we're starting to see Europe having a giant spike and China flattens out. So it kind of feels like it depends on how it's calculated and tabulated. And we noticed that I think between China and Asia and Africa, right there, that's like 3.5 billion people. That might be half the world's population. And Europe and North America seem to have so many more COVID deaths. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy? So, for you to believe the COVID data, you have to believe that Asia had 1.5 million COVID deaths. Okay. All of Asia, India, the street shitters. Okay. We're including them. And North America had 1.7 million COVID deaths. Now, what's never talked about, and I'll never let go, is that approximately 950,000 of the deaths in the United States were people that were 65 and older. I believe it says that on here. Yeah. Age 65 and older. So 90% total of the, I mean, more than that, it was mostly people 65 and older. So when we talk about, when they try to make it seem catastrophic of the amount of COVID deaths that happened, it was mainly old people. This isn't even factoring in comorbidities, okay? This is a joke. It depends on how Africa had 200, we had more old people die. We had more people 65 and older that died from COVID than the continent of Africa, which only had 258,000 deaths. Okay. Now, either they're too stupid to calculate it correctly in Africa, or what? What's the other reason why? I could do this for way too long. Let's get back to the debate. That's my issue whenever someone brings up COVID.
Restrictions. If we had the fatality of, let's say, Ebola, then I'm pretty sure that we would be having an entirely different conversation where we might even argue that those steps weren't far enough if it was similarly violent to Ebola. So for me, like measures from the government during an emergency are not necessarily fascist.
Yeah, but do you see how that makes my point for me? That the point is that based around joint preference, we can easily restrict behaviors in society that we don't find preferable because society, because society suffers because of it. And so
that's true of society in general.
Well, the thing is, though, Connor, is that if that's the case when it comes to universal suffrage and that's a demand which is made, you can't then get upset because one of the voting blocks happens to be the largest is fucking Christian and they're going to push their agenda through. You fuckers did it to yourselves. So I don't know how you reconcile that position.
Because there's two games, okay? Because I do not presume that you are a Christian nationalist who wants to take secularists, liberals, Jews, atheists, Creaster Christians, moderate Christians. You probably don't want them to create a tribal group that beats you at the state game. You want to win. You want to win. You want to impose a Christian nationalist
I want
society.
Power, yes. For
and what I'm trying to argue is that you should not want to destroy the entire game of constitutionalism, republicanism,
but this is
capitalism.
But Connor, this is a counterintuitive point. So you can't make. I'll show you. You can't make the point. Think about how circular this is. Everybody should be enfranchised. What we know, if everybody's enfranchised, that they're going to create interest blocks. When they create interest blocks, the only way that you can actually have power is through joint interest blocks. You yourself as a voter have no fucking power at all. You as a collective voter have a lot of fucking power. Okay.
Right.
Hang on a second. Let me just finish the circularity of the argument. If that's the case, when you say, well, Christians are forming this fucking block in order to maintain power before somebody fucking else forms a block and maintains power, then I don't know what you're arguing. Of course we're going to do that. If we don't do that, Connor, then fucking Marxists will do it. Leftists will do it. People like this will do it. And they don't have our best fucking interest in mind, dude.
So this is what we keep coming back to on the right wing. We've already seen what they want to do to us. We've already seen what they've been doing to us. So we have to usurp power however we can to stop them from doing this to us. And if you have a Christian ethic, even if it gets abused, even if you have a Christian ethic that's ruling society, that would be preferable to the Marxists. Right? I mean, am I talking to a child? Like, that's easy to understand. Connor should understand this, and he's trying to not understand it.
So what choice do we have but to form a block and pass our agenda now when we fucking can do it? What choice?
Okay. So what I would say is I also hate leftists and probably hate them for the same reason. I also hate fascists. I also hate them for the same reason. And when it comes to Christian nationalists, if you're just talking about a political alignment of people of shared values who advocate within the republic for their own legislation, that's all we've ever been doing for 250 years.
No, it's
that's
more.
all we've been
No,
doing
no,
for
no. You're missing a
250
point. You're missing a
Yes,
critical
no,
point.
I'm not missing the point. And by the way, I'm sorry, you just keep interrupting me, so I want to continue for a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, you're saying that, oh, well, we create special interest groups that then advocate for policy. That's just been true. That's just been fucking true.
Well, it hasn't
so
been true.
How is this any different
It
than the republic that
wasn't
existed in the
true
19th century or the early 20th century or the middle 20th century or the late 20th century?
It wasn't true. The two-party system is an emergence, which happened from universal suffrage. There was no two-party system before that. Okay, that's an emergent property of universal suffrage. Because why?
The two parties are made up of a series of special interest groups who have aligned into the two-party system.
But let me explain why that is the case. It's the case because of a consolidation of power. The idea here is, if we're going to have voting blocks, then we want to have power, right? And the only way to have power is in numbers. So if you have one that's adverse to the other, we have a block that's large enough that we can actually maintain some sort of power. The problem that comes in here is if Christians don't have authority and power, and they're able to maintain authority and power by changing the Constitution to suit them so that they're not out of power, then Marxists and others will come in, and when they have power, change the rules so that they never lose it.
It's like, is this or is this not how you would explain this to a child, right? Like, someone's going to get power, and this is why the liberals or center right just function as controlled opposition.
So the question here is, we're all running for the finish line here. The question is, who gets there first? Is it going to be? Hang on, is it going to be Christians?
All of the groups that you're talking about by a factor of 10.
I don't think that that's correct. And let me give you a demonstration for why I don't think that that's correct. I think that what you see is coalitions now forming based around the idea of not just ethnos. Now, you remember when ethnos was the thing that coalitions were trying to kind of bring up. Now, the reason that was a terrible plan is because if you just base it on ethnos, you don't have the numbers inside the United States, and you haven't for a long time. Maybe you could have pulled that off, when it was 95% white, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, something like that. But that's no longer the case. Whites are 60% and white women.
It's my case for being a civic nationalist. It's pragmatic. Well, you can be a civic nationalist and still advocate for whites, white-only spaces, white segregation, white nationalism as a civic nationalist.
Men vote against white men anyway, unless they're married. So now the coalition is generally under religion or some other political faculty, but religion takes the priority because it's still a shared value. So me and Hispanic people have this shared value. Me and Chinese people have this shared value. We all have this shared value. Because of that, that does create and form a very powerful voting bloc. If we get in and we don't change it so that we don't have mass migration and so that we can't keep Christianity as the most powerful voting bloc, other voting blocs will form under Marxism.
Okay, but
hang on, they will form under Marxism, and they will do it.
Okay, but here's a contradiction, and also I want to know your definition of Marxism in a second. So, number one,
I love how he's talking about Marxism, but he's invoking a contradiction, which is Marxist lingo, like through and through.
I would say that the contradiction in what you just said is that 90 to 99% of the mass immigration coming to the United States is from South and Central America. They are infinitely more Christian and infinitely more socially conservative than Americans are.
Is he invoking that, like, the illegals and people crossing the border come from countries that are Christian? Is that what we're getting? Are we getting their best?
Now, moving to the economics, you're saying, oh, well, they're, maybe they're more economically redistributed. Well, I would say that Christian nationalists as a bloc, with you being representative of maybe the Ortho sect and Nick Fuentes being representative of the Tradcaths or whatever, the Tradcaths are infinitely more interested in redistributive economics. And so when you say Marxism, what do you mean? Because I don't see Donald Trump, who was picked as the guy who could be the vanguard for the far right wing. He's currently embracing Mamdani, and they both got into power through economic populism. So how is Christian nationalism going to guard against, number one, economic populism? Number two, how are you defining Marxism?
Well, first, the economic populism of New York, not of the nation. That's one. But let's dive into this so that there's a couple of different points to address. Marxism is the movement towards the people having control of ownership, right? All private ownership being abolished. That's what Marxism is.
Yeah, there's this like equivocation where all of a sudden socialism means when government does stuff. Like on the right, there's no socialists on the right. They don't seize the means of production like that in any capacity. It's purely leftist when you say socialist.
If you're talking about socialism, that's the idea that the state has control over all private ownership. Okay, now we've never been able to get from socialism to real Marxism. It's always stopped at the socialism level. But in order for the state to hold all private equity and private ownership, which is what they want to do, Marxists want to do ultimately, they need to have power. in order to control the state. That's what they have to have. So they are going to do this, Connor, whether you like it or not. They've done it and done it and done it and done it and done it. And they're doing it right now in New York. They're trying. I mean, that's what fucking Marxists do. When you're talking about importing people from South America.
And this is why I edit videos, because if I was in a like debate, I'm just like having Vietnam flashbacks of the videos I've made, going into depth, the streams that we've done on the Marxist infiltration for like the last century, and the fact that, you know, it's obvious that Trump is like a wannabe authoritarian and fascist, while we have to ignore all of the actual infiltration that's happened on the left. Would drive me crazy. And I would just get the stream banned by my vocabulary spurging out about that.
You still also have to have other shared cultural values. And it is true that by the second or third generation, they begin to have those, which is why they're starting to break for the right instead of the left. But the left doesn't want to just flood us with South Americans anymore. They're looking elsewhere. And so the thing is like, look, ultimately, there is a shared voting bloc here. And the shared voting bloc is Christian values and Christian ethics. And if it's the case that we can control power so that we can keep other people out, and our voting bloc is assured to be in the power position for the social order of society.
Andrew Wilson is a good debater against men, but he always crashes out against women, TBH. Don't you try and one guy me, okay? Because I'll fall for it. Don't try and one guy me.
That's good, because otherwise some fucking buddy else will. Now, even if you disagree with me on mass migration, or you disagree with me on immigration policy, or you disagree with me on economics or things like that, you're not going to be able to disagree with me on power distribution. Marxists fucking want it.
I don't.
Yeah, Marxists, hang on a minute. Marxists want it, progressives want it, leftists want it, they all want it. And by the way, when they fucking get it, they're going to try to maintain it. And if that means that they got to change laws to do it, they'll fucking do that too. So it's a race to the finish line. And man, I really want us to fucking win.
Okay.
Is that really so hard to understand? Now, what could Connor possibly say to that? An obfuscation. What else? How else can you respond to that if you're in the negative and not the affirmative?
I appreciate what you said. But what I would say is liberals and libertarians and Republicans, by the way, people who believe in a republic, people who believe in the Constitution,
don't have a republic.
And ordered law, and ordered
There is no
liberty. I just
republic.
listened for a few minutes, so I'd like an
All right, go
opportunity
ahead,
to speak,
go ahead.
please.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
a reoccurring debate within a debate that's going to be coming up in general, and this happened on Tim Pool with Joel Berry, is constitutional. Like, what version of the Constitution? How much about the Constitution do you know? What were the circumstances during the Constitution? Like, it doesn't look good for them, okay? What the country looked like and who they were making it for is an argument that they cannot contend with.
people who actually believe in the Republic of the United States for which it stands and all the shit that we get taught as children, they want to perpetuate the game as we currently have it, which means keeping the First Amendment, which is freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, which is the right to keep and bear arms up to and including against the tyrannical government. It's shit like the Fourth, Fifth, and Eighth Amendment and the 14th Amendment, which are basically due process laws. And so they want to keep all of that shit. So when you're talking about, and I would say a majority of the population, you have to bear in mind a third of the population votes left, a third of the population votes right, and a third of the country doesn't vote at all. And also even within the Christian.
He loves doing this, and the left loves doing this, where they say something that we all know during their time to speak. And if you go to interrupt them, they go, I'm speaking right now. I let you speak. I'm speaking. He's laying on the ropes right now. Yes, we all know that. What you're saying is technically true. This is a sign of someone that's a sophist and just a hollow rhetorician, where they have to say something that's true, regardless if it's germane to the conversation or something profound and that we don't know.
Christian bloc, which you keep mentioning is the largest demographic within the United States. Let's be real, 30 to 35% of the country is secular or atheist, meaning that they actually don't believe in God at all. And then the 70% of the Christians, probably, let's say half of them to probably 80% of them are Creaster Christians. And what I mean by that is they don't take their faith seriously. They don't think about God. They don't think about Jesus. They don't think about heaven. They don't think about divinity. They just go on Easter and Christmas. And so what I'm saying is I have no resentments towards you trying to build a Christian political advocacy bloc. What I'm saying is that civic nationalism covers all of those people, and civic nationalism only involves the proposition that you believe in the Constitution of the United States. It's a far lower bar to entry.
It is. It's pragmatic, and nobody really utilizes. So, okay, for example, here's what they did. Here's how they turned men into women, okay? You can just identify, a man can just identify as a woman, okay? They co-opt definitions all the time. My goal is someone's like, well, I can't be an atheist and be a right-winger. Well, I am. Well, I can't be a liberal and be a right-winger. Well, I am. Well, I can't be a civic nationalist and be a right-winger. Well, I am. So it's also like subversive and to co-opt these terms to go, yeah, all that shit you can still be on the right. Like, we should co-opt their words. That's what they do.
Yeah. So again, these things are contradictory in their own right. First, we don't have I'll tell you. First, we don't have a republic. A republic, if you have everybody enfranchised, that's no longer a republic. Okay.
We vote for representatives.
Yeah, but we never were supposed to.
No. Hold
we
on.
never were supposed to. Ever.
Excuse me, but black men getting the vote, I'm just going to see as a moral good. Women getting the vote, we could argue about. I don't really care.
Can we always laugh about how black men were 3/5 of a person and got to vote before women? So, well, what were women? 2/5 of a person? That really is just an incredible point in history. That really is how patriarchal we used to be.
But the point is that, like, we still choose representatives. The average citizen does not write
And
legislation.
were we supposed to ever select representatives, Connor?
Yeah.
No.
Wait.
No.
We started as a representative republic. What the fuck are you talking about?
Listen to me. Maybe you just have no idea. How do you think the president used to get elected? Do you think that the people got to vote on him?
No.
Exactly. No.
Do you see how Connor says no and he's proven wrong, but he's thinking like, well, how am I going to turn this around right now? No, right. That's what Andrew's saying. Very good.
Oh,
Wait, who
the
was
people
he
didn't get to
chosen
vote.
by?
The people didn't get to vote on anything except their state reps. The state reps were the ones who then set the federal reps up. And only certain people inside of the states were able to vote at all. And most of the requirements were that they were Christians because what? You had to be of good moral standing. They didn't want
I don't
people.
think you contradicted me at all.
Hang on. They didn't want people who were in bad moral standing.
We should only have Christians elected to government, is my atheist, liberal, civic nationalist opinion. See how this works?
Second,
So
you
I'm sorry,
claim-
who picked the
Bro,
president in the 19th
I didn't
century
interrupt
and
you. I
18th
let you
century?
go. Can I finish?
Absolutely.
So the thing is, man, is that the big problem that you have, the contradictory nature of what it is that you're stating is you start first with a presupposition, which is false, that we still have a republic. We don't. We now are moving towards direct democracy. And that's probably what we're going to see in our lifetime or something more akin to it. That's the ever expansive flow is towards that, not a republic. When you're talking about checks and balances and things like this has been out the door for a long time because now the public can vote directly on issues. And so they can be bribed. The whole system's fucking done. The republic has already fallen. That's not even here anymore. The original statement of our
$2 made, God mode enabled. Do you agree with Nick's plans to team up with the left? I agree with the populist message that Nick Fuentes sent out, which I believe was we need less capitalism and more social safety nets on the right, which, you know, it can't be pure capitalism. You know, for healthcare, definitely, that's a huge pain point for everybody. And for the left to be less white. Now, ideologically, these are very sound. Like if a compromise were to be made, that would be an easy compromise to make. The right is going to have an easier time making that compromise than the left will. So I think it was good bait because we know that the left can't be pro-white in any capacity. So in general, teaming up with the left, without any nuance whatsoever, I would say no. But given the context of what he said, I support what he said, if that makes sense.
founders for what a republic was, which was based on a compromise due to the fact we had the Articles of Confederation, and that was a fucking mess. It was a mess. We couldn't govern anything. Okay, the republic is dead. I don't know where you've been. Now it's a Zurich rush to power based on the enfranchisement of people, and now that people have realized that you can collectivize through enfranchisement.
Yeah, there's not integrity in our system anymore. We see how leftist commie DAs prosecute or don't prosecute who they choose to prosecute. It's not a lot of these presuppositions and prescriptions for how things ought to be was with a white religious Christian moral man, you know, like with how it is now, we're being infiltrated and we have like 6th generational warfare. It's a very cold war. It's a very psychological war of what's going on right now. So yeah, these are war times is how the right approaches these conversations. And it's pretty easy to understand that. But the left wants to go, and when I say left, I include Connor. The left wants to go like, oh, it's not war. There's not actual violence. So let's stop. All right. They're transing the kids. Let's not act like they stopped transing the kids. Okay. If they can make rules to trans the kids, we can make rules to have Christian nationalism in the government. I'm sorry. That's just an easy thing to understand.
Enfranchisement to seize power It's a matter of who gets there first and who's willing to change the laws when they are there, Connor. And the thing is that if we don't do it, they're going to fucking do it to us. So I don't even understand the proposition that you're giving here. You already know that that's true. You know, if Christians don't rush to do it, others will. And by the way, when you talk about secularists here, a lot of secularists are voting the way that Christians vote now because they're sick of social morbid degeneracy and still see Christian ethics as being superior to the alternative of
Absolutely.
progressive degeneracy. So again and again and again, telling me that we can't have a voting bloc when we've already had tons of successful elections based on the emergent political party of Christian nationalism or Christian populism, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because we seem like we're kicking the shit out of everybody, Connor.
Okay, I'm going to try to be very specific because I'm not sure if you heard me before, so I'm going to say it again. I don't care that Christian conservatives with aligned values vote in their conscience. I don't give two shits about that.
What about them changing
I actually wouldn't even care, real quick. I would.
So this is a tactic of obfuscation. He's going to spend so much time talking about what he doesn't care about, as opposed to advocating for an affirmative position of what he does care about. Now, as an atheist liberal, it's easy to be a deconstructionist. I'm commentary. Something happens and I comment on it, okay? It's really easy to just be a piece of shit and always deconstruct things. So I feel like you have to wield that epistemology and strategy carefully and responsibly. So let's listen to him talk about what he doesn't care about.
Wouldn't even care if they got a healthy chunk of what they wanted. I'm a dude. I don't need an abortion. Okay. I'm not black. Maybe, whatever you want to do with black folk. Not you, but Nick or whatever, right?
Do you see how he sneaks that in just like a leftist? What does he want to do? I hate this like way of speaking where the audience has to fill in the cracks. So the people that agree with him go, oh yeah, we know what he wants to do. No, like, what does he want to do? What do you think he wants to do to him? Where did that come from? He's invoking racism out of nowhere.
Like, this isn't skin off of my ass. What I'm saying is that the liberal, libertarian, Republican project that the United States is not dead. And I don't concede that. And I don't agree with you. We vote for representatives. There is not a single person in the state of Florida who has ever crafted a piece of legislation that has gone through either house of Congress.
I know you're saying that we vote for representatives, but you've also admitted that a third of the country doesn't vote, okay? So people are not exactly believing in the system, dude. That's pretty low in this very free country.
It hasn't happened, except for the elected representatives.
No, that's not true.
The only thing that we voted on in the state of Florida is we voted on state level memorandums that had to reach a certain threshold to even be considered by the state. I'm sorry, what piece of federal legislation have I been capable of voting on in the past?
Well, no, it's not. It's not capability of voting, but drafting.
Well, then it's not direct democracy. What the fuck are you talking about?
Private citizens are actually the ones who draft.
He didn't say it's direct democracy. He's saying it's becoming less representative and more toward direct democracy. You asshole.
Almost all federal legislation who are part of think tanks. Those think tanks then bribe the electorate and they pass through NGOs to the representatives things in which to vote on. So the thing is,
the Republic works. Do you think a representative crafts everything from scratch?
Well, I mean, originally I do think that they had assistance, but generally these were from property owners or stakeholders. Stakeholders had a lot more to lose inside of the Republic than the average citizen does. The average citizen.
Chief complaints
hang on,
from the left,
bro. Can you let me finish the point?
Absolutely.
It is the
$2 QWZZ1. Did you see Andrew versus Matt Dillahunty rage quit? Yes. And I have, even when I was more on the left or less on the right or whatever you want to say, like 7 years ago, I have always liked Andrew Wilson. I don't think I've ever said a negative word about Andrew Wilson in like the 7 or 8 years I've been watching his content. Seriously, I've never had an issue with this guy. $2 more, mate. In what way is Counterpoints on the right? Well, he says he's a Burkean conservative. So if you can believe this, he deconstructs different types of conservatism and picks a more obscure one that doesn't actually have him have to, really advocate conserving anything. It's like an ideological conservation. $10, thank you, my dude. Attack on Jordan. I call what Connor is doing the liar's cadence. Ooh, I like that. He slows down his statements by emphasizing the time space between words to think about what he's going to, what he's going to say next. That is very good. I might use that. And everyone saw where I might have got it from. But yeah, well, especially when he's responding, they want to space it out. It's the same thing as when you were in 7th grade and you're writing a paper and you're just trying to fill words in the page. It's double spaced, but you're like, let me see if I can make it 2.2 spaced just to take up time. Absolutely. How do I? Oh, that's him.
Case that if you have a perpetual underclass that you want to appeal to, even though all of the things have been taken care of for them. Food, hunger, water, basic needs, they're basically a thing of the past, at least here in the United States. It's true that people have economic hard times, but the idea that we just have people fucking starving everywhere or can't get access to clean water is fucking insane. We've defeated most of these problems by and large. What happens, though, is that there's a consistent appeal to the underclass. As people get richer, the people on the bottom end of the get rich, they're appealed to by another form of the electorate to say, hey, these guys over here are really fucking you. So you need to form a block so that you can pull their resources down. Now, that was never the intention of the Republic. Now the electorate can be bribed. And because the electorate can be bribed and they can vote their own bribe money to themselves, okay, the Republic is fallen. It is fucked. It is crushed. There is no safeguard from this. None. And so now it's just a rush to power, bro. That's it.
$5 from You Deserve What You Tolerate. Counterpoint says the same BS all snake lefties do. They pretend to not understand what you're saying to divert the conversation. Here's the thing. Andrew Wilson respects Counterpoints a lot more than other debate interlocutors. And he'll say this at the end, that Counterpoints was a larger content creator than Andrew Wilson at one point, and he platformed Andrew Wilson. So Andrew Wilson is a very loyal guy. Also, it's really fun to beat up on Connor, and he can take a lot of the punishment without completely spurging out. So yeah.
I mean, I think you're just describing societies, but
that's not how societies are supposed to work. You're not supposed to be able to form a voting block to vote yourself other people's money. That's fucking crazy.
So you think in medieval Europe, you've appealed to history, and you said that my analysis is ahistorical.
I love it. You appeal to history. So since Andrew said something about history, now this is how reductive is that? Try to be more reductive. Where Connor now gets to go, I'm going to now appeal to something random in history.
But which I don't agree with. But you think that in medieval history, it wasn't like interest blocks, forming power blocks, and then advocated to the top level in order to get to the. You don't think feudal lords were who made power, like power plays in medieval Europe?
Well, that's a different proposition.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But let me explain. In the feudal system, and you can find this in both Japan and Europe because they followed a similar type of feudalism. It wasn't quite a caste system, but it was a nobility class versus a non-nobility class. The nobles had all the stake. Knights held the land, or samurais held the land. The knights of Japan. They were reporting to daimyos, who were family leaders. Okay, in this case, they were reporting to either jarls or viscounts or whatever, depending on where you were in Europe. They were the ones who were collecting the duties on the land, and that would get sent over to the king or to a prince or to some other middle manager all the way up. The truth is that only those people were allowed to have a say because they were the only people who had a stake. The peasants were living at their behest.
You did not refute that they were power blocks. All you did was describe them.
The peasants couldn't vote themselves the knight's money, dude.
Yeah, but the peasants had to remain industrious in order for their lords to have the ties and the men at arms and the knights and all that kind of stuff in order to be politically relevant.
Testing 2741 for $5. Thank you very much. Counterpoints understands we have effectively no republic, but he can't see that, as that reality destroys his argument, even with no logical counter. So he claims to be on the right, but he comes from the right, but now he's grifting for the left and trying to carve out this impossible position to be on board with. And so now that's why he just obfuscates like a leftist. But then at the same time, he tries to be like, hey, I'm still conservative. I think that not everyone should vote. He'll throw in like little breadcrumbs here and there.
You're basically acting like politics was invented in the 20th century.
No, I'm trying to explain to you how power blocks.
You don't need to explain it. I understand a lot of things. I'm being polite because I like it when you yap.
In franchise,
you didn't need to explain those things.
Yeah, but Connor, I think I do because
I love that. So Connor admits that he does understand what Andrew is saying. But if he did, then why does Andrew feel the need to explain it to him? Doesn't that feel like being in a toxic argument with a girlfriend? Where they're like, I know what you're saying. And it's like, if you did, then why the fuck are we arguing?
Because when you're talking about enfranchising a peasant class, would medieval Europe have worked if peasants could vote themselves the fucking knight's land?
Probably not.
No, and this fucking republic isn't going to work because that's what they're doing.
Okay, hold on. Number one. Okay, I don't agree with you descriptively at all, so I'll just go into that. So the chief complaint from the left, by the way, not necessarily me, is that the current legislative system is captured by billionaires, energy companies, military-industrial complex folks, tech bros, and that they're the ones that are crafting the legislation via think tanks that then go in front of legislators to be rubber-stamped and issued into Congress. That is the technocratic elite. Those are the people who make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. If you're saying that the American Republic has fallen because we're letting the swarthy plebeian masses make their voices known too hard, the complaint is the opposite, that we're almost being exclusively run by elites.
No, what's going on is that those think tanks and those NGOs and those technocrats and those billionaires, what they do is they craft mass propaganda campaigns in order to get carefully selected politicians who are in their pocket elected by bribing certain parts of the electorate. This is why you see the propaganda coming out of the think tanks on the left for things like DEI, for things like reparations, for things like this. These are all bribes to the electorate in order to get specific politicians to get elected, who will then pass whatever their non-governmental organization, NGO, or think tank has set up for us. This
You understand
only,
that in
this
developed
only,
countries, Americans are uniquely bad at
This is
bribing the
only-
peasant class, right?
no, they're really good at it, actually. That's one of the
I
big
think they're pretty
falsehoods.
bad.
That's one of the big falsehoods of the left. These last riots, for instance, that happened in California, the No King's Day was not organic at all. It was grafted by 500 to 1,000 specific NGOs, and I read a list of them. And what they did was they began paying the peasant class to show up to these things, which they often do, and they were trying to propagandize portions of the electorate against Donald Trump because he's some type of thorn against their agenda. So they were saying he's a fascist, he's a this, he's a that. That's crazy.
How is that, real quick, how is that different from what you...
Okay, so Andrew Wilson explains how there's a conglomerate, a collusion of NGOs that make it so, 1,000 people, thousands of people across the country all protest, which turn into riots at the same time. Okay? Pretty observable reality, we can all agree. Let's see how Connor, let's see what he does with that.
You or I do.
What do you mean?
How is that different than what you or I do? Go on.
Because I wake up every single day. I go onto a live stream. I have a certain ideological set, and I get financially rewarded as an ideological set by my chat. And as a result, I advocate for a certain set of beliefs that I'm trying to convince a maximum amount of people to believe in. So how are these people? Because you're using scary words like NGO and propaganda.
Using scary words like NGO. It's not a scary word. Who the hell considers NGO a scary word? That's just a descriptive reality of what's happening. And how is that exactly like what we do? How is he equivocating NGOs with an individual being persuasive?
Their goal is to use the electorate for power.
How are they different than you?
Well, first of all, I'm not I guess both of us would be non-governmental organizations, but we're not think tanks. The thing is, though, is that all you're doing,
and I like to think.
yeah, all you're doing is affirming my point. The idea here is that we're trying to mobilize the electorate to put them in position, or put people in positions of power who reflect our belief structures on the country, knowing that if we don't get our people there, somebody else is going to get their people there.
Okay, but hold on, real quick, right here. I think this is the argument right here. Okay.
Okay.
Donald Trump did specific things that are contrary to the Republic of the United States. And what I would cite specifically is the fake elector scheme by John Eastman, where he tried to say that the vice president's role.
Oh boy, the right-wing TDS is about to kick in. Hey, did you guys know about the fake elector plot from January 6th? Did you guys know about that? You guys want to hear about it again 4 years later?
Is not ceremonial, and that because there's alleged fraud in XYZ ABC states, then Meg Pence can declare that because of this fraud, these ballots are cast out, therefore Donald Trump is the president.
So
then they had like another backup plan.
So,
then they had a
I love
backup plan. Then they had the protest.
And
I'm just going to grant all of it's true. So what?
Okay.
Love that strategy. Just, if you're debating, just grant the argument. Take the wind out of their sails. He always does it so effortlessly.
All of that shit is, people are getting called seditious for saying that the military should follow legal orders and not unlawful orders right now. All of that shit was illegal as fuck and treasonous as fuck.
I'm going to tell you a truth of the world. The only thing that's fucking illegal is what the guy with the fucking gun tells you is illegal. And ultimately,
yes, you don't believe in a constitution anymore. This is exactly what I'm advocating against.
Well, okay, but hang on, calm down, right? The truth is that even if I granted.
So since Andrew Wilson says the fact that whoever has the monopoly on violence decides reality and laws and what's going on, that means he doesn't believe in the Constitution. Testing 2741 for $2. Thank you. Super Electors, is this guy Destiny? Yes. Yes, this guy actually is Destiny. If you go to his channel, his most popular video is him talking to Destiny. And if you go to my channel, my most popular video is talking about Destiny and has more views than his fucking video. Because he sold his soul and he still don't do as good as I do. And I just passed him in subscribers and I fucking hate Counterpoints. I say civic nationalist because I followed him a few years ago and I thought that he was like infiltrating the left and trying to just like play nice for them to infiltrate them. He just became one of them and I hate him.
All of this, if it is the case that power is seized in this nation by Marxists at the barrel of the gun, or it's seized by somebody else at the barrel of the gun, the truth of the matter is that that's how power works. Now, do I agree?
There's not enough Marxists to seize the power of the United States.
You know what? I'm going to tell you. Yeah, well, you know what? That's exactly what the fucking czar.
There's not enough Marxists to seize power in the United States. Well, if you've seen some of my videos from Historically Reflective, that playlist, if you've seen some of the live streams where we go into how the Civil Rights Act was purely communist. They have been. It's like he doesn't know what the long march to the institutions is. Kamala Harris's dad was an economic Marxist. I mean, show me how close the Nazis are to that level of power in our institutions and highest level of government. You fucking idiot.
Our thought too, because they thought they were all fucking nerd buckets. They thought all the Leninists were a bunch of fucking dorks and nerd buckets, and the white Russians had all the power, and they were the Omega Chads, and they never saw it coming when they fucking got overthrown. His whole family got drug out, shot in the fucking head. Nobody saw it coming, Connor. None of them saw it
all
coming.
saw it coming for a prolonged period. I don't think that's accurate.
You're
to late
wrong.
Russian
You need to look
history.
at what happened with the white Russians and the white Russian party. They thought they were fucking dorks. They thought they were nerds. They didn't expect it. They didn't expect it at all. And then suddenly there was a clique through. Chill out, Connor. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
The rest of Europe.
Connor, just let me finish my point. They seized power from the rightful power that was there, the czar. They did it. A bunch of fucking dorks. Okay, a bunch of Weasley
If you need to
dorks.
seize power first, then why isn't January 6th super fucking based? Is it not based because
What do you mean? What does that have to do?
Why isn't it super fucking based? Connor talks like a fucking angsty teenager. It's fucking incredible. Testing 2741 for $2. Thank you, my dude. Every major government agency corp is Marxist. Well, no. How are they Marxist if they don't advocate for a moneyless, stateless society? Checkmate, Nazi. How are they Marxist? That's like their legitimate response to that. It's pathetic. Quiz of Chatterack, $2. Thank you. Insert Millennial Woes tweet every heckin' time.
With anything that we're talking about.
Because
I'm talking about the mechanisms of power in a philosophical way, not the event itself. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm talking about power.
Okay, hold on. Absolutely. Whether or not we continue to propagate the peaceful transfer of power in a republic absolutely matters.
We don't have a
like
republic, and there's no peaceful transfers of power anymore. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I love this argument from Andrew Wilson. There's no peaceful transfers of power anymore. Do we have any guesses in chat to what he's referring to? I'll give you a moment. It's kind of obvious when you hear it, but you might not think of it reflexively. But I love this point.
What peaceful transfers of power are you talking about? Donald Trump gets elected and they go to California and they start fucking destroying vehicles and burning the fucking town down. And
yeah, like think of the leftist violence when the guy they don't want to get elected that they call a fascist and they start acting like he's a fascist gets elected and they start enacting violence. Doesn't feel very peaceful in society, does it?
Starting fucking little small riots everywhere. They go to the ICE facilities of the federal agents and do everything they can fucking do to get them shot or killed or shoot and kill them themselves. This is not peaceful transfer of power. What are you talking about?
No, the reason why I find that to be rhetorically effective is because it's material. You can see it happen in society. It's not like a theory, it's not reverting back to history or anything like that. It's very brazen, the point that he's making.
Really, really, really don't like internet politics, by the way. If you look at any time throughout history, you could pick any time in the 19th century. This is more peaceful than the 19th century. You could pick.
And he's pivoting to, but it's the most peaceful time in history. How is this not the 93% peaceful fucking study? Yeah, but in general, globally, it's peaceful. So ignore the billions of dollars in damages that happen.
Pick any time in the 20th century, the current era is more peaceful than that time. You could look at a whole host of political intrigues that are infinitely more fucked up, except for Donald Trump.
Well, then can you tell me why it is that Destiny's running around saying that there has been more protest under this president than any other president in U.S. history?
Perfect to invoke Destiny, who Connor works with and sucks his toes, because Destiny has said most of the violence happened when Trump was president. And it's like, yeah, Trump didn't cause the violence. It was the opposing political party that was carrying out the violence.
Protests aren't violence.
Yeah, they do lead to violence. These ones have nonstop. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that the homicide rate has been cut in half since 1992, and half of you fucks aren't even aware of that.
And he pivots to protests aren't violence. Are we talking? He's a right winger, okay? Hey, he's a conservative, okay? He's a Burkean conservative, okay? What are you talking about violence when they're just protests? Dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on.
Do you remember what happened with the BLM riots? Do you remember what happened with the unrest going on?
Damage. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, three dudes and everybody got bored. What the fuck are you talking about?
Again and again.
And everyone got bored. Hey, can we apply this to January 6th by any chance? Where, hey, this is the most peaceful time in history. Why are you still crying about January 6th? Have you noticed that? I feel like a double standard at all? Where all of the years, if you go on Wikipedia and look up how long the protests lasted for George Floyd, it was years. Now, but this is the most peaceful time in history. And then one incident, a 3 or 4 hour riot on January 6th, but we don't apply that same level of world peace to that. Interesting.
And again, when you're saying that there are now peaceful transfers of power, here's what's happening: is mass polarization. The left is not
The
ever.
60s and 70s were
The
infinitely more
left
sophisticated
is
violent
not
than this right now.
okay.
By
Yeah,
the way.
the thing is, that's really funny, Connor, is that the left right now is never going to accept a right-wing politician, and the right wing is not ever going to accept a left-wing politician. That's where we're at. We don't
How much do
accept
you
them,
like that?
and so we don't accept their authority. We don't like their authority. We resist their authority. That's what's been going on
Do you
for the
wanna-
last
do
20
you
years.
want to bet $50? I
On
can do
what?
like 50 or 20
On what?
on whether or not the left wing broadly or the right wing broadly will accept a president of the United States from the opposite party.
They don't see his authority as being something that needs to be followed. They see it as authority which needs to be resisted. At every level, they see it.
I mean, you can find several videos of wine moms wanting Donald Trump to be dead. But like, come on. We've all seen it.
It is authority which needs to be resisted, Connor. They see it from, I mean, you can see, go to
If they're
TikTok
doing
and listen
so
to these people.
legally and via the courts, that's not a problem. That's
Yeah,
the way our
Connor,
political system
it is
works.
a fucking problem. Yes, it is.
Testing 2741 for $2, mate. Thank you. The most peaceful assassinations and riots. Exactly. It's what they, the left, always defaults to. Let's try to go to a different timestamp that I have on here, because how else? It's a 4-hour debate. How else am I going to cover ground if I didn't just listen to it and take timestamps? So let's see if I can remember why I timestamped this right
Places
here.
like China and Russia. And so he's like, well, what the fuck's going on?
It was the
And what he
stupidity of the
realized-
people.
I
That's
would,
why.
I would like the opportunity to finish. What he realized is
Well,
that
you're really good at not letting me the opportunity to finish. I just want to point
I'm
that out.
sorry,
Nice.
but you say a lot of things that frustrate me. So my apologies.
It's okay when Connor does it.
The thing is, he realized like, oh, well, law enforcement, the military, the political class, the industrial class, pop culture, these are all forces that are contradicting a socialist message, and therefore we're not able to get socialism through. So what we need to do is we need to take a left-wing lens and we need to apply that to the social sciences and to culture, and we need to advocate for more left-wing ideas and propagandize the population.
So yeah, why don't we do a Christian lens instead, right?
That way, eventually, they're
And it
more
worked.
favorable to socialism and
And it
communism.
worked.
Okay. I don't think most people talk about decommodification of basic human needs or workers owning the means of production.
Oh,
or
my-
any-
no.
Oh my God. Most people don't talk like Marxists. They do. They infiltrated liberalism. They started to call it social liberalism, progressive liberalism. Have you noticed how, if you Google Hassan Piker and progressive, Hassan Piker, an open celebrity communist, is called a progressive. Now imagine if we had that on the right. We don't. It's asymmetrical. That's the double standard. So people are advocating for it's built into Marxism to have socialism to go to communism. It's built in to be slowly subversive.
the
Oh,
shit that Gramsci
bro,
gave a
they
fuck
do
about.
though. They just do it in a different way. They
Yeah, they
advocate
do it with like gay race shit.
No, not just with race shit. No, in fact, they do it the opposite way. Oftentimes, they do it through DEI agendas. They do it through egalitarian agendas instead, by convincing one form of the electorate that they're getting fucked by this other form of the electorate. So that electorate needs to go against them. This is very common with what
They infiltrate Christianity with this. This is why you have progressive churches. They infiltrate any humanitarian effort with their agenda.
are called color revolutions, which has nothing to do at all with skin color. It has to do with flag color, right? So the idea of a color revolution. And this is how you're trying to pit one side of the electorate against the other. This is why universal suffrage is also a fucking terrible idea, by the way. But what's going on right now, whether you like it or not, Connor, you can't convince me that we're not polarized, because I talk to leftists all fucking day, and I talk to the young kids coming out of college, and I know exactly what
never
they
made that
fucking
claim.
believe. I know exactly what they believe. I know exactly what the poli-sci fucking kids believe. I know exactly what the fucking psychologists who are coming out of universities believe. I know exactly what's going on with these people, because I've talked to thousands and thousands of them across the world. By the way,
Okay,
let me just point this last thing out. I'm almost done, Connor. I'm almost done, Connor. I'm almost done.
Okay.
It's not. What's going on is a polarization. You see that the right is swinging with young men. Okay, that's happening, and that's good. Okay, but ultimately, why? They're trying to find a power block that they can be a part of. And it seems like Christian nationalism is a power block that's very appealing to them. That's some sort of shared something, some sort of community, some sort of tying block for people that they don't ordinarily have. And
Cohesion.
leftists can't provide that. That's why Christian nationalism has become so popular.
Years the eunuch in chat. What's up, years?
They don't provide a sense of community. They're anti-natalist. They don't care about families. They have no shared ethics or virtues. They don't give a shit. They're mostly fucking productively. They're nihilistic. And so because of that, you see young men moving over to the right. That's why.
Okay.
So ultimately, yes, this is becoming a battle over centralizing power. And you still haven't told me why it would be bad for Christians to have it, which is the whole point of this debate.
So we are an hour and 4 minutes into this. They really started maybe at like 20 minutes. So it's been 40 minutes. And so what is so bad about Christian nationalism? He just does the spooky, scary, boogeyman version of whatever he thinks it is. Something about the blacks, something about what they're going to do. Like, what is it? What has happened? We've seen what's happened with the left. Okay. So we have a long list of material arguments about what they've done. What have the Christian nationalists done? Well, I saw their trolls online. Groiper 1488 did a circle with a dash. That means Hail Mustache Man. That's what they're going to do. What do you have, dude? What do you have?
Because no, I've already told you multiple times that I think that we should continue playing the Republican game, and I don't believe that we're as far down the track as you think we are. And by the way, hold on real quick, because this was a few minutes ago. You were saying like, oh well, you see all this like left-wing thinking and pop culture, and it's going through DEI and CRT and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know what happened though? Is because we're largely in a free society in which you're able to express yourself. There was like a draconian 1984-ish social media attempt. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I listened to you for several minutes. I would like the opportunity to finish my ideas as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there was an attempt in the late 2010s to kind of force feed people this progressive bullshit. And what's happened is it's been so thrown up. It's been so rejected by the popular consensus that Donald Trump.
Yeah, they only laid it down on us for like 12 years and then it dialed down some. They're not plotting and brooding in the background and still committing violence whenever they decide to do it. See, I'm not raping you anymore. What are you complaining about? I just raped you for 12 years. Am I raping you now? What is that argument? Testing, $2, thank you. How does the left explain Gen Z going right? Oh, maximum overdrive cope.
Twice. And the broad consensus on the left is that like, oh shit, we have pissed off so many people that we are the least popular we've ever been, despite the fact that Donald Trump is one of the most dumbass, incompetent, bumbling presidents in American history.
You just sound like a faggot, dude. Oh my God. Everything's emotionally loaded. Like, just what? What has he done? What is it? Stop trying to mind read him. Stop trying to go into his head. We got Waffle for $10. Thank you very much, my dude. Unrelated, but why do the tree swingers keep talking about each other's junk and argument? It happened multiple times today. Waffle is there on the trenches on X, and we engage in very thought-provoking conversations with people of color. And that's all you need to know on YouTube. Yizzy. Yeah, I'm off to bed. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for checking in, Yiz. Very much appreciated.
So no, there isn't like this primed Marxist revolution that's on the verge of taking over. It's been solidly kicked in the dick.
This is complete revisionism. Here's what was actually happening. I'll tell you exactly.
You think the left is as relevant
am
now
I going to be able to hold on, Connor?
Hold on,
Connor. Let Andrew talk. Is that okay with you now? The thing is it is revisionism. Here's.
Do you think the left is as relevant now? Well, it always feels like when you like kill Jason in a movie, like when you kill the bad guy in a movie and you don't put a bullet in his head, you just walk away. Like that's what we did with the left. That's why I have such a hair across my ass with James Lindsay, because like, oh, I thought we were going to start ganging up on the left now, but controlled opposition. Who's your master?
Here's what the left was actually doing. What they were actually doing is anybody who had any good ideas on the right, they were shutting them up and removing them from fucking any public platform, period. That's what they were doing. And we find out that they were co-opting these other public platforms. They were sending goons over to threaten them if they didn't fucking do it for them. That includes on Facebook. That includes on YouTube. That includes across the fucking board. And so what?
That actually includes the Derek Chauvin trial. Does anybody remember how George Floyd's cousins did witness intimidation? I have to really dig to find it. It's been pretty scrubbed, but I was there. I remember.
Happened. One of these guys, right? Elon Musk bought a fucking tech platform. And when he did, he opened it up so that all ideas can come in. And what happened? The left's ideas, they're getting fucking shit on. They're getting their asses kicked. They're getting their asses handed to them. But what happened is...
Yeah, we all know that the founding fathers were like, hopefully rely on a billionaire to buy social media. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's in the Articles of Confederation.
System of this is that these right-wingers went and they started building their own systems, which is what the left said. Make your own fucking platforms. They tried to shut those down too. Okay? That is a bid for power. Do you understand that? Do you understand that when the left says you're not even allowed to fucking talk, or we will deperson and debank you and throw you out of society for life? And what they say publicly is, if you have those views, I want you broke, I want you bankrupt, I want you destroyed, I want you not able to feed your family. They say it publicly everywhere. I've heard it on public platforms as large as Piers Morgan. Okay? That's what they're fucking doing. That's a bid for power, sir. What that's doing is that's saying, look, you don't get to talk. You don't get to participate. You're fucked. We're in charge, and it's going to be our rules or no rules. Okay, that's it. And they were co-opting that for 20 fucking years. Now the right wing is moving back in, and everybody's in a fucking panic. The status quo people are in a panic. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we winning elections again? Are we kicking the shit out of you again? The thing is, though, is that it seems like our ideas are winning in these arenas. So how long before they start the fucking mass deplatformings again? It ain't going to be long. How long?
Yeah, it's going to be coming back, which is why I'm doing this on Kick right now as well. So I'm going to start to build up my Rumble and Kick, because from what I've seen, like, you really only get ad revenue on YouTube. And if you're going to survive on other platforms, I think historical millennial, what is his name? The guy that just got booted from YouTube that had like 258,000 subs, he's going to be live streaming like twice a week now. So like, you are forced to live stream if you're not on YouTube, essentially. Otherwise, I mean, you're very much relying on Patreon and other donations like that. So that's why I'm trying to build a parallel structure, which is what a lot of us should be thinking about every day.
Before they start depersoning the right? Not long. How long before they start shooting our fucking commentators? Well, that didn't take very long either. The thing is that for you to naively try to fucking tell me that these people are playing within the system and that we're all just playing fucking kumbaya and all the checks and balances are working is fucking naive, and it's retarded, and it's not what's been happening. It's total revisionism. And on top of that, let me point this last thing out. You still haven't told me what would be bad about Christians being in charge. Not one thing.
Okay, yeah. But maybe I could address that. So what you just said.
Quiz Chatterack, $5. Thank you very much. The revolution was lost a long time ago. We're just trying to put the pieces back together, born in the ashes of civilization. Yes, that's why I have a very open and accepting online political identity. I can't, like, I'm not going to turn away someone because they're not white or like I don't even know what, like, I don't even know how to be a white nationalist and go like, you're black. Like we understand the difference of good blacks, bad blacks. The good, like, I don't know. I'm a liberal, but I very much go with vibes, which I guess the Christians would determine as judging someone by their fruits. I'm very fruitful. So when I say vibes, I guess I mean I'm very fruit-based, but not fruity.
Regardless of whether or not you'll admit that this is what you just said, is that a country that has freedom of speech and freedom of conscience, private individuals who were barred from private platforms from expressing their conscience, then bought a platform and also created their own platforms that then became economically viable. And this was tolerated within the liberal system and libertarian system because of freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, and the free market.
It's not like they didn't want to stop that from happening. You know, it wasn't a long shot that Elon Musk got X, and Rumble is still very rough. It's very rough. I mean, if you're not on X and if you're not on YouTube, like, what platforming do you really have? That's like taking away someone's soapbox, putting them in a room alone, and going, "See, you can still speak."
That's what you said. That's
Yeah,
what you
right.
Just said. You just said that the entire problem was corrected via the freedoms that were already enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. And on top of that, the left wing has to take you seriously because they don't have the ability to deplatform you. I'm sorry. How would they deplatform Rumble right now? How would they deplatform Kick? How would they
Bro, remember Parler when Google and Apple colluded to make it so you couldn't download the fucking app? Oh my god, dude. He's useless. He's actually useless. Because no one on the left or right really gives a shit about what he's talking about, and you can see it hard with its numbers.
platform Twitter when it's owned by one of the world's richest men? They're not capable of doing it because we live in a free society. And by the way, Andrew, you asked me an important question at the end of your rant. You said, what would be bad? You said, what would be bad about a Christian taking charge? I would say that if a Christian authoritarian took charge and they didn't believe in freedom of conscience and freedom of speech, and they started doing what the left did in the late 2010s, I would view.
Notice how if a Christian authoritarian took charge, does that sound good faith? You could replace Christian with anything, and you would still be left with the word authoritarian. My autism doesn't let me ignore these things in the conversation, and I become fixated on them and usually make a video about them, which is why a debate would be so difficult for me, because it's so hard for me to let somebody get away with something that I can see that a lot of other people can't see, and I would just seem crazy because I'm the only one seeing it. Anyone else ever felt like that? You're the only one seeing something, you know it's true, but everyone else is deciding to not acknowledge it.
That as just as evil and pernicious as what the left tried to do in the late 10s and early 20s and failed. You basically just said the left failed.
Well, the thing is that their failure at.
Oh yeah, the left failed. Think of all the mangled adolescent bodies from transing them. Think of all the confused children from the gender identity movement that isn't platformed so much anymore. See, they lost. have you seen the wake of destruction they left in their path? See, they lost. Just think of the destruction for generations to come. Ignore the forced sterilizations, okay? Ignore that. Think about the destruction from the BLM riots and just transing the kids and what it takes to detransition. Just those two things. I'm off the top of the dome right now. See, they're not in power anymore. Like, you're evil. Like, how do you interact with that? How long of a conversation do you have to have for a person? Either they get it or they don't at that point, right?
Being able to do this has no bearing on what it is that they're attempting to do. This rose-colored naive, the rose-colored naive glasses that you have that rumble a Canadian company can't be shut down via legislation, or that they won't, is fucking stupid. When you consider how many times European nations have passed legislation to stop any form of tech companies giving any sort of platform to what they call the right. They were throwing people in fucking jail because the dog was making a Sieg Heil song. I mean, come on. These fucking people in UK right now are being thrown in fucking jail for publicly praying. Give me a fucking break.
Fuck the UK. You're not going to find me defending that shit.
That's his argument. I don't agree with anybody. I'm super edgy. I'm in 5th grade. My hair is spiky. I have a ball chain necklace, and a wallet chain, and Jayco jeans, and a no fear shirt. I'm guessing. Babusk 7593 for like $10 Canadian. Hey Artie, love the content, but can you not call Dave Smith a libertarian since he rejected libertarianism? He's been a pragmatist for at least 2 years. Well, I'm trying to say things in general. I don't like to get caught up. Like, you're talking to someone who calls himself an atheist, liberal, civic nationalist, right-winger, okay? I really don't like to get too caught up on definitions. And so, like, in general, if I'm making a point that he's a libertarian, that's in service to calling him woke right? I'm not trying to do it as, like, this hyper-accurate political identifier. But also, if someone's a pragmatist, I don't think that necessarily takes away what they're advocating for, kind of similar to Nick Fuentes. Taco and Jordan, $2. Thank you. Base Count Dankula reference. Yeah, dude. That guy went through it and came out on the other side. Not everyone does. You make more money streaming on Rumble with chat. I bet I do, but I'm a fat retard. Let's keep going.
Again, right? These are what we see when secularists are in charge. And the secularists are moving to be in charge, and the atheist nihilists are moving to be in charge. The only thing that you've told me is if Christians get into power and they do things I don't like I don't know, deplatform leftists, then I won't like that. If that's your whole thing for what is bad, then I would just counter and say, okay, but if they're going to do it to us and they have been doing it to us, what the fuck are we supposed to do exactly? Except combat it. Hang on, bro. Except combat it the same exact.
This is the controlled opposition. So there's violence being enacted against us. So what would you like us to do in response, in kind? Can I just sit there and take it and go through the bureaucracy that they seem to be able to evade and go through?
Way by seizing the means of power so that it can't be done to us. And if it's the case that we have to do other authoritarian things like, I don't know, shut down OnlyFans. Who cares? I don't fucking care. Good. Use the authority of the Christian government and shut that shit down and shut the porn sites down too. I don't.
Exactly. So what are you afraid of? I've said this with Trump too. Like, what are you afraid of? What do you think is going to happen? Trump's already been president. Okay. So like with Christian nationalism, what are they going to ban porn? Is that terrible? Would I ban porn? Not necessarily. What happens if porn is banned? I don't give. Okay, I don't like. Am I gonna fight against it? No. So like, what are you so afraid of? What's the worst thing that's gonna happen that you're imagining in your pea-sized brain?
I don't fucking care, and neither does anybody else. They don't fucking care either. What I mean, what? It's just Coomers can't fap, and so fucking Christian nationalism bad. Like, what is the argument here for Christians being in charge bad? What?
Okay. So Christian. Sorry, you gave me a lot. So the First Amendment, freedom of conscience, freedom of speech. I don't have to.
That's nice, Connor. Let's try and scoot along a little bit because the Q&A is pretty entertaining. I have this blocked out for some reason. Let's see why I did that.
Intrinsically evil. It was the actions which were external to the system.
I'll answer. So political corporatism, treating the nation state as a body in an analogy sense.
Yeah.
And then flexible authoritarianism. I would say the flexible authoritarianism is what makes fascism evil because shit, I'm a political corporatist. So
yeah, but that doesn't.
Flexible authoritarianism, if it's used in a negative way, sure. But flexible authoritarianism can be used also in a positive way, especially when you have a guiding principle like Christianity. You know, what created English common law, what created a lot of our laws are based on Christianity. So there's historical backing to defer to why that would be preferable, I would say.
You haven't made. You've just reasserted the claim. Oh, it's a tautology.
Yeah, I was about to explain flexible authoritarianism to you. Give me a second.
Okay, well, but don't make it a tautology. Don't tell me it's evil because it's evil. Tell me how it's evil in itself.
I'll tell you how it's evil. So flexible authoritarianism says that you get and maintain power however is necessary.
Okay.
So effectively, like dog eat dog.
So Newsfist has described this to me as decisionism. Like there's going to be like with COVID, for example, you're gonna have to be able to bypass everything and make a quick decision. It can't always go through the giant winding, dragging your feet through the mud halls of bureaucracy. Sometimes you have to be able to bypass everything to get things done, like an executive order. So I mean,
Darwin rules. If you can get in there through elections, awesome. If you can get in there through appointments, awesome. If you can get in there through violence, awesome. However you get into power is how you get into power. But then you also have to maintain power. And fascism effectively says that history and individuals in society are ultimately just a great.
why are we invoking fascism? Has he shown how Christian nationalism is fascism? It's like guilt by association. He just puts Christian nationalism, and he's like, okay, and he could default to, I never said Christian nationalism was fascism. Why are you taking your time to speak to talk about fascism? To muddy the waters, to give it a bad smell. It's fucking disgusting.
Great struggle. And so if you lose in a fascist power game, it just means that you weren't the right person to rule. And so all it becomes is a massive struggle over power. And so as a result, since you don't believe in a constitution, don't believe in rule of law, don't truly believe in monarchy, don't truly believe in anything really, you just start worshiping power.
Well, gee, because Connor, I feel like you're just describing societies right now. You're just describing every society which exists right now, which is it's a dog-eat-dog world, and everyone's got it. They're all going for power, and however they're going to get it, because that's just society, Connor.
But liberalism, in the classical sense, in the American sense, says that we are going to make rules to the game.
Bullshit.
That's what it says.
Original liberalism didn't even have term limits for the president. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, so you'll notice that people on the right actually have a much more historic knowledge of how what the country was like when these rules were made, or these prescriptions were made, and what was going on. And then there's the post-World War II liberal consensus of how we have society now, which is very mooish. And so everything's a post hoc rationalization of using what we know now and applying it back then as if that's what their intention was and that's what they meant. So Andrew, very sharp, tackles this immediately. I would never be able to do that.
They could have stayed there for fucking. He could have stayed there his entire life.
Wait, hold on. You think the Constitution weren't rules to the game?
Well, the Constitution's a couple of pages, Connor.
Yeah, no shit.
The rules there were really designed as a compromise so that states could govern themselves. You know, the whole idea here that you're talking about.
The supremacy clause in the late 19th century that said that you had to follow the
Constitution, not the original Constitution. Nothing.
Wait, didn't every single state have a representative body and a governor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
so
random different.
Agree to that rule set? Did they say that individual states could become monarchy?
This was part of the compromise. Well, a lot of them are run like monarchies. Especially in the early part,
by a governor and a
Like, does he think the liberal conception of what we call liberal nowadays was like that back then? Like, I just want to see. I want to give a pen and a piece of paper and go, draw what you're seeing in your mind right now. What does it look like in between your ears when you're saying this?
Representative body.
I don't think you knew. I don't think you know how much.
Same as a king.
I don't think you know how much power governors used to have in these fucking states, Connor. It was incredible.
I probably do.
Yeah, well, then you know that it was incredible in comparison to what they have now, and it's not even in the same fucking universe. And the thing is that when they had the power of a national guard, when governors used to have the power of a national guard, that was an actual fucking threat. Okay, it's maybe not now, but it used to be. And the thing is like, look. I'm sorry that you describe a dog-eat-dog world, but you haven't explained how that's intrinsically evil. Even if everybody's all vying for power and they all want it because they all think that they deserve it, and then the ones who deserve it get it, that in and of itself is not an intrinsic evil. You'd have to explain how the system intrinsically is evil. I would just argue easily that the morality base of the people group who have power are what make a system evil or not evil. Now, you can argue that there's some systems which maybe would turn out more evil people. I think that's a good argument, and I can get behind that argument. But I can't get behind the argument that a system itself, which is just a social construction of our brain, is inherently evil. That's absurd.
Okay, hold on.
So that's a really effective way to remove the moral weight of what someone's saying, because the way that he's talking about it sounds like it's inherently or intrinsically evil. And you go, hold on, this is a neutral concept. This could be good or bad. And you're just talking about how it's bad to try to like sell your point. Testing for $2. Thank you very much. All Western liberalism has become tabula rasa BS. I don't know what that is because I'm fat.
Okay. Then we might be using evil differently. So using evil, let me define it, I suppose, as like
bad thing.
propensity for intentional harm.
Yeah, but you see how that's tautological? Because you just say that bad
How?
is, well, because then you're just saying evil is evil, right? So bad is evil, evil is
But
evil.
you understand, but you and I probably have like 90% overlap, 95% overlap on bad, right?
No, I think that evil is the absence of the essence and energies of God, or the energies of God specifically. I consider that to be.
Oh my god, dude! What happened to Jack Murphy? Selling the lich for 100 of wherever the hell you're from. Should try Jack Murphy's heteroflexible authoritarianism. Wait, that sounds like run-of-the-mill Republicans. What happened to Jack Murphy? Oh my dear lord! Has anyone seen the Jack Murphy sexy time that he did on stream? I have. And I showed it to someone who didn't know I was going to show it to him, and he really didn't appreciate it. But guess what? I'm selfish, and I thought it was hilarious.
Evil. So we have a different prism on what we consider evil to be. I think that when you say bad, you just mean things which are against your personal preferences.
Wait, so hold on. So is a Christian pedophile more evil than an atheist?
Well, if he's a Christian pet,
Now, how is he going to get out of that? How are we going to handle the eternal question of Christian pedophile? What do we think? How are we going to handle that? Testing for $2. Thank you very much. Tabula rasa. Oh, blank slate Latin. Okay. Oh yeah, of course I know Latin. Oh my god, how did I forget that I know Latin? So how do you guys handle the Christian pedophile argument? You know, how's he going to do it? He's on the fly. He's got no time to think about it. How's he going to do it?
pedophile, he would. You're giving it an incorrect descriptor. So this would be a person who's not partaking in the energies of God, which is why he's doing this actions.
In
this
name
action
only.
denoted as evil.
Okay, so hold on. So a self-proclaimed Christian.
Yeah, you can, but you realize that, like,
versus an
a
atheist,
self-proclaimed man or woman, right?
Beautiful.
It's like you can proclaim whatever
Beautiful.
you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
Doesn't make
but
it
I don't accept this. The reason why I don't accept this is because effectively what you can do argumentatively, which I don't agree with. Like, all right, I think that if you're saying the absence of God, I do believe
well, the
in, like,
absence of the essence of God. Yes.
Okay, well, I
I'm
think
sorry,
most-
energies. The absence of the energies of God, not the essence.
okay, I
of
think
God.
most humans, relatively speaking, have a divine spark, and yet human beings engage in evil all the time.
And yet, it's
I would say I know how to operate in the spirit realm. Like I know how to operate religiously. The best way I can phrase it to you is at a certain point, I learned how to activate what I would call the God part of my brain. People hate it when I say that, but I do act in a pretty godly way. So I can, like, it's not a character, but I just think not of what Jesus would do, but of what my interpretation of what a Christian would do is how I handle certain situations internally.
absent that divine spark that you would consider the evil thing. Right?
Ooh, hold on. So if a man, let's say the prodigal son is engaged in anti-God behavior. Jonah engaged in anti-God. David engaged in anti-God behavior.
Well, they didn't
They
separate
still have the
themselves.
divine spark,
Yeah, they didn't separate themselves specifically from all of the energies of God. That wasn't
right?
wasn't
But
the
they
case.
still did horrific shit, right?
True, yes, but people who remove themselves from the energies of God, it's in our belief structure that is what is contributing to the evil here, the sin. That would be what we would consider evil.
Okay, but hold on. Just as chat just said,
Okay,
Hiroshima
Connor,
and
what do you got
Nagasaki,
here?
bro. How many
Okay,
people?
Connor, I hate to have to mute you.
I
That's
understand.
what
The, I
That was
understand the
actually
idea.
that was actually huge. So he actually muted Connor, and what you have to realize is usually debate etiquette, the moderator really tries to not mute someone. I actually love the move that he muted Connor and set that standard of, like, I'm just going to cut you off if you do that. So to me, second debate that you're moderating, very boss move. He was hands off the entire time. I mean, which is understandable, but I thought that was a very boss move.
Ideal, but we're not talking about the ideal. We're talking about if you actually had to accommodate one of these views, would it be good that you went for the lesser of the two evils? Is that a good thing?
Yes,
Well,
on
then
the
you're-
whole,
Yes.
you can still do bad things with a good outcome.
So what you're saying is that it's a good thing in this situation to burn the child alive.
No, why the fuck? I'm sorry, Andrew. The reason why I keep using the word pedant, okay? Pedant is where, like, you're overly focused on words. Can we agree that there are things that are both good and bad simultaneously?
Can we agree that there are things both good and bad simultaneously? If somebody said that to me, I wouldn't be able to be rational with how stupid you're trying to have a deep cut. Christian nationalism, by the way, what are we at? 2 hours and 13 minutes. So then they start to get into some moral stuff because he just loves to, what they love to do is bring it into the weeds and then go, hey, we're in the weeds right now. Yeah, you brought us into the weeds. My dear Lord.
Energies of God. This is my reference for the good. When you say the good, you mean something different. You mean intuition, preference, things like this. I completely understand what you mean by that word. I'm fine with it. The problem is the equivocation's coming in from you. Because when you say there's certain contexts which make an action good or bad, I agree. But the second you say an action's both good and bad, that is a P, not P proposition. It's a contradiction directly. That's what I'm trying to save you from here. You could just cede the point and we would end up in agreement.
I won't.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I went, I think like an extra hour or so because you guys were having such a good conversation, such a good
God bless Cool Vic. Okay, bless his heart. Listen to what he's going to say right here. So at this point, he already went over an hour.
debate. So seriously, that was awesome, guys. Would you guys want to do your ending statements now?
Sure.
Do you guys want to do your ending statements now? We are at 2 hours and 20 minutes out of 4 hours. He thought it was going to end. Oh man, this guy's a good shit from what I've seen, and we do have some overlap with things that we cover, and we seem to be very much on the same page. With a lot of stuff. So one day I hope to collab with them. I don't even know what that means. I just feel gay being like, want to be my friend? Like nowadays, like what do I say? Hey, I like your content and I don't know what I want to do, but we should collab, maybe. I don't know how to do that.
Hush money definitely happened, but even if it did, right? Even if you say, Trump went and he bought a fucking hooker and paid her some hush money. Okay, I can at least wrap my head around that. There's at least something there for evidence that I can at least be like, okay, that deserves looking into.
What about the Jeffrey Epstein? What about the birthday Enigma letter?
Yeah, the thing that they said is a fraud and you haven't proved it's true yet?
Wait, it came from the Jeffrey Epstein estate. How is that a fraud?
Yeah, you have not proven that this is actually from Trump. That has not been.
So he's really trying to pin this on Trump. He has a very conspiratorial. So Connor will do, Candace Owens says something. He's like, she doesn't have enough proof to state something so confidently. But what do you think he does about any allegations against Trump? Right-wing TDS, like that exists.
Been proven. They say it's not.
It hasn't been proven, but at the same time, wouldn't you think that like, hey, here's a bunch of birthday cards, including a drawn cartoon of Jeffrey Epstein grooming children, and then you flip the next page, and then it's a page from Donald Trump saying like, Jeffrey Epstein, we're great friends, blah, 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 blah. You know what I love about Enigmas? The fact that Enigmas never age, and it's literally the silhouette of a woman with small tits.
Right this second, there's hundreds of thousands of people on the internet who believe that I have a black ex-wife and black bastard children.
So this is brilliant. How do you teach this debate move where you invoke the drama involving your wife, the rumors that she's fucked black men and he has black stepchildren? How do you somehow use that as a rebuttal to your bad faith interlocutor? You sound crazy if it doesn't work, but he's not crazy because it somehow puts Connor in his place. Very masterful.
And there's nothing I could ever say that would ever change their mind, even if I showed them all of the evidence in the world. And here, right, the opposite is the case. Here, I'm willing, right this second, if you can provide real conclusive evidence that Trump has in any way, shape, or form engaged in sexual intercourse with minors on Epstein Island or in any way with Epstein, that I would love to see the evidence, and I'd be right behind you with him to fucking string the guy up. But you don't have it, Connor. You don't have it.
Well, we can break bread on that, because realistically, we should probably just wait until December 18th, see what comes.
He backpedals and goes, you know what? I was too hasty. Okay. Maybe I jumped the gun. And with what you just said about your wife makes sense. So he evokes that. Perfect. How long do you think Connor is going to stand by that for?
Comes out, see what gets sealed by the DOJ, and we should just see what we have on December 18th.
Awesome.
And we can take it from there.
Yeah, except you're already making the accusation. That's the problem.
I am making the accusation.
He goes back on it immediately. Maybe we should just wait. Yeah, but you're already making the accusation. I am making the fucking accusation. It's like bipolar. Okay, I think we're getting into the Q&A right now at hour 3. Poor Vic thought he was going to be done by now, but he hung in there, and I thank him for that.
Overthrowing the Republic of the United States, the Constitution of the United States, the way that we've established laws, the way that we do due process.
Pariah Carey, for the record, you should have the humility to call yourself an agnostic, if nothing else, because atheist has an inherent certainty that denies the mere possibility of the existence of God. Personally, I think you're either an atheist or you believe in, like, God. So there's a lot of people that will infiltrate, like James Lindsay, who will say that they're kind of like, no, it's not that I don't. I'm taking a hardline stance that I don't believe in a metaphysical being, which I don't think is a crazy position for me to be certain and believe that this metaphysical being exists. I I don't think that's crazy. And I feel like a lot of atheists get stuck in this, like, maybe there's like something out there because they're not being honest with themselves. Be honest with yourself. You don't believe a God exists. Just be honest with yourself. Really stand on 10 toes and go, I don't believe. You know what believing feels like, okay? And so I really want to, be an atheist. That's how you can become a Christian. Really, really focus on how you don't believe in anything. Really be about it. Don't be like, I kind of believe in something. It's like, you don't. You know when you believe in something. That's my take on that.
Process. I don't think that the material circumstances that we're in right now are worth overthrowing the government. I also think that there's a bunch of fucking Civil War LARPers, and I would use the F slur if I could, but for monetization purposes, I won't. I think there's a lot of people who think that you're going to get a gun, you're going to run outside, you're going to get into a gunfight, the government's going to be overthrown, and then boom, you're done. Whereas an actual civil war is losing friends, losing family, losing power, losing access to guaranteed food, drinking dirty water, being miserable, and maybe getting shot or killed by complex either anti-governmental forces or governmental forces. And I think that if you look at the misery in Ukraine, I'm not in a rush to see the United States of America be like Ukraine. So I think when people are like, oh,
brave,
you hate it, you hate political extremism, you hate revolutionaries, like I think you're a fucking dumbass.
Well, I think that this is a kind of an ironic argument, as nobody is making the proposition for civil war at all, but rather to utilize the systems to their ultimate advantage to change them for the purposes of Christians being in charge over the long term. So who would have a revolution against that would be the opposition side, right? And not only that, let's point this out, and this is kind of funny. Connor says, wait a second, there's a bunch of Civil War LARPers out there, blah, 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 blah. Nobody's making that proposition, Connor. Nobody's proposing civil war. And I would also argue this.
Just like when you're arguing with any leftist, that's not my argument. You're not engaging with my argument. We're at hour 3. So what's the big scary aversion to Christian nationalism?
That the overthrow, that the laws and the system that you're advocating for is only 50 years old. Laws weren't really made the same way that they're made now. They weren't. This is a brand new experiment inside of the experiment. You're advocating for a very, very young system within the system. If we go back to really what the framers wanted and what you've done with universal suffrage, I think you've already destroyed this very system you're trying to maintain, and you're just trying to maintain it. And I don't know why.
Because I think
it's 50 years old.
Alternative is a rush into anarchy and violence. That's why.
I don't think so. And the thing is, it's like, why do you want to maintain this 50-year-old system?
I think there's profiteers as well. And I'll just say it. I think Tim Pool is a profiteer. I think that he caters to the disenfranchised sentiment. He caters.
This is great. So Tim Pool is a profiteer. The left loves to do this. Like, what? So he makes money? Does that mean he doesn't believe in what he's saying? Or it's just bad that he makes money on it? Like, what is the argument here?
Here's to the sentiment that we're already in a civil war. The shots just haven't been fired yet. Or the shots that have been fired have only been fired in one direction. I think he caters to that. I think it makes him money. And I think it's ahistorical, statistically bullshit. And yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. I know Tim Pool. Okay.
I've met him twice.
I'm not saying I know him super well, but I know him pretty well. Okay. And the thing is that that's a real smart guy. He ain't no dummy. Mama didn't raise no dummies. And
Testing for $2, thank you. He thinks Tim Pool isn't genuine. That's a good question. And what if I told you your question is going to be answered, and it's going to make Connor seem like he's just obfuscating and trying to sling some mud?
And he's been following with great detail the news. Now, does he do the headline thing a lot on the Civil War? But he's also often reaching polls where the polls are talking about what Americans think is going to happen, which includes civil war. And he's not a grifting profiteer. This guy was out.
I didn't say he was grifting. I said he was a profiteer.
I didn't say he was grifting. I just said he was a profiteer. What is the point of saying profiteer? That's like saying, I didn't call him a Nazi. I called him a Nazi apologist. What is the point of saying that? That right there makes me want to put hands on a man. Like, it's so mooish. It's so effeminate. It's so backhanded. It's so passive aggressive. It's so implying something without saying it. Then you call him on it and you go, oh, plausible deniability. I would just say he's making a profit. What's the point of saying that?
This guy was out and he was watching all of this shit unfold during the Occupy Wall Street. And all he's done is study the news, watch the news, and report on the news for years. When you say profiteer, then like what is he doing that's any different than you, Connor?
I think because
he's just better at it. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, that's true. But no. I think that it's one thing to basically say what you believe earnestly, make a buck from that. And I do think that I say exactly what I believe.
I think he does too.
I'm guilty of.
I need you to realize this. So the left loves doing this. Destiny does this all the time. It's not that he believes in what he's saying. Connor just said he thinks he believes in what he's saying. Okay? That is a tell. You are in your body. You know what you believe. That always stands out to me as for plausible deniability.
Make a buck from that. And I do think that I say exactly what I believe.
I do think that I say exactly what I believe is someone who does not say what they believe. Okay? You can't even be held accountable for your own beliefs because you think you believe it. Do you believe it or not? Oh, I hate that.
I think
It's
he
one
does
thing that I'm
too.
guilty of. I think that Tim, consciously, subconsciously, I don't fucking know, but I effectively think that he knows where his bread is buttered. His bread is buttered, not an improve. And I think he's big enough that he could improve discourse. He could literally say, "Hey guys, shit's getting off the wheels so bad that I think that we need to bring these sides together and we need to start looking at a productive way for America to move forward." I think he would lose viewership. I think he would lose money. But at the same time, I think he makes money by saying it's a catastrophe, it's an apocalypse, it's lawfare, it's one-sided. We're in a civil war in which people haven't shot each other yet. Yeah, I think he profits from that.
Yeah, I think that this is fucking. You keep on bringing this up. This guy over here, who's much more successful than me, could improve discourse. The fuck? What are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
What the fuck
by the
are
way.
you
I'm
doing?
I'm doing okay on the internet. I'm not trying to say I'm a millionaire, but I'm doing.
You're not doing okay. You have a main channel, and my channel is doing better than your politics channel and your Valor Media channel. Okay? You're not doing okay. You're getting external funding for what you're doing, just like with Progressive Victory. Now I don't know where the funding's coming from, but you're not making money in a grassroots way. You take money, you don't make money. You make money from your Warhammer 40K channel, but don't get it twisted, Connor.
Doing okay.
Yeah, you ain't doing as
Share.
okay as Tim Pool, not even in the same arena. So the thing is like,
What does that have to do with
what,
anything?
well, what are you doing that improves discourse? What?
I think
You're utilizing the same exact principles as Tim Pool. You use the same
No, I
thing.
don't.
You just got done saying that Trump was a pedophilic lunatic and you couldn't wait for him to get exposed with no evidence. How the fuck does that improve discourse?
Exactly. He does exactly what he's accusing everyone else of doing. It's okay. He's going to be able to pull off this reasoning.
I don't. Okay. I earnestly believe what I'm saying, and I've also laid out the evidence for
So
you. And
does
on top
he.
of that, if you came to the stream, or if anybody came to the stream, I can show you in meticulous detail why I believe what I believe.
You see, Connor can justify it. That's the difference, okay? And here's the thing. As an atheist, I understand that you can rationalize anything, okay? Now, Connor says he's a deist, okay? He's not an atheist. But do you notice that he's still falling victim to constantly rationalizing anything that when he does it, it's different? Also, bro, go to a divine liturgy. Once you see the paradigm with which we view the world, everything you're seeing and saying will click into place. All the ortho bros tell me to go to divine liturgy, including my streaming co-host. So hey, I'm Orthodox, okay? That's my favorite. That is my absolute favorite. I seem to have Orthodox people listening to me. That one seems to jive with me the most so far.
I can
So
back it
does
up very
he.
specifically.
So does
What's that?
he. He does the same thing. He's using
Okay.
polls. He's using data. He's talking
But
about
you know-
what he believes.
okay, I'll
How
give
is
you
he
a very
bringing
specific
discourse
example.
down and you're
I'll give you a
outdoing it?
very specific example, okay? Pisco, friend of mine, goes on to the debate, like IRL debate with
Pisco, friend of his. Does anyone know who Pisco is? He is, without question, and I'm including Destiny in this, the most insufferable leftist. Without question. That's his friend. That's one of his friends. Like, hanging out with the left to infiltrate them, you're not friends. This is supposed to be like going undercover, and you're not really fucking a prostitute. You're not really selling drugs. You're supposed to be acting like you are. Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Actually fucking believe.
when I was in Twitch politics, I think you're familiar with this. I effectively was, while probably being, I think centrist is an apt description, but while being a centrist, I was probably the furthest right on Twitch politics that was tolerable to these people. And I punched left the entire goddamn time because they lost their fucking minds.
So I was watching Connor Counterpoints during this like 5 years ago. It was very, very much, the explosion of streamers during COVID. And I liked how he was pushing back and how he was moderate when he was pushing back. I enjoyed that.
They used
What
you
I'm
as a
telling you
heel.
right now-
You were a heel.
Yes, but what I'm telling you right now is, in my opinion, politically, the right wing has run so far fucking right that I think that they are almost analogs to the conversations that I was having.
By the way, there's no horseshoe theory. There's just fishhook theory where the far right is just normal. And I sincerely believe that.
In 2020 and 21, when the left was dominant on social media. I think you guys have lost it to a fucking extent.
Well, I don't know where you're getting that from. It seems
Another baseless accusation that he can't justify.
Like the takes from most of the right wingers are fairly sane in comparison to what these lefties are doing. And on top of that, let me just point this out, Connor. I just want to point.
I don't want to talk about COVID, but just
I'm not going. Hang on. I just want to point one thing out which is really important. The fact that you were allowed on Twitch was because you were a centrist. Guys like me, we weren't fucking allowed over there. I was able only to go on and have debates because I refused to stream there, so I wouldn't get kicked off, so I could continue to have them. That was the only fucking reason.
He said mean things about trans people.
So Andrew makes a very good point here, where he wasn't able to go. So it was Rob Noor in Counterpoints for the most part, as larger names, and Lecter Fan. But Andrew Wilson was uncompromising in what he was saying. Counterpoints was being soft, which I thought he was infiltrating, but apparently he wasn't not infiltrating. Testing for $2. Thank you very much. Trump's second term broke Counterpoints. Trump's second term, they need him to start lynching black people already. They can't wait for it. They need something. The rounding up illegals is pretty good, but they're fucking illegals. Like, you people sound crazy.
I get it.
Well, no, it's not just because of that. It's because I told the truth about a lot of things that they hate. And if I never said a word about trans people, they would have booted my ass off that shit. And you fucking know it. And I know it. And everybody knows it. And the thing is that's why I never was able to stream on Twitch. And you know that I would have fucking made a fortune if I had. I'm a great entertainer and a great commentator. They wouldn't allow it because I would have got thrown. It would have cost me all the debates. Because you were a centrist, how is that not you being a fucking profiteer? Why shouldn't I think?
Exactly. He was dialing down his opinions to get more political favor, money, attention.
I think that Connor
99% of my
position because he was allowed on Twitch where he could make some fucking money.
Listen, I'm just gonna be real. 99% of my audience is on YouTube. Twitch never blew up for me.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is I'm just pointing this out. You were at least allowed.
But you tried to, Connor. But you tried to.
Out over there to make it blow up, and other people weren't. And I'm just asking you to extend the same fucking grace to them that they would extend to you before you call them an evil profiteer, because I think that you getting on board with Progressive Victory was evil profiteering too, Connor.
Okay.
Okay. Eats his ball.
All right. So just so we have a lot more super chats, so I'm just gonna be reading the $5 questions and up from now on, just to move it along. Thank you very much, Joshua, for $5. If Connor is dismissing censorship against right wingers because the system held up, why is he crying about January 6th again? The system held up. Stop crying.
Go fuck yourself.
Actually, that's a really good criticism.
Tries to brush it off.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a pretty.
Is it a good criticism? I wasn't saying that censorship on the left was good. I'm saying that we survived. Saying that we survived by the skin of our fucking teeth on January 6th. Dude, I'm sorry, but being able to create a
We survived by the skin of our teeth on January 6th. I'm sorry. But even if someone steals an election, we still have a country. Like, even if I grant all of their arguments and he stole I love the idea, by the way. In order for Counterpoints to have this opinion, he has to believe that Joe Biden got 84 million votes. Still the most popular. Joe Biden's going to be the most popular president in history for years. You have to believe that. Also, the evidence that it was an illegitimate election, I have on this channel covering electronic voting machines and how those have been illegitimate since 2000, and how communist feds were colluding against Trump weeks before the election. So I have sufficient evidence. Sorry, I didn't make it to a court, but it definitely exists. When you see a video of something and it's not submitted to a court, it doesn't mean it didn't fucking exist.
a social media platform is not the same as overthrowing the Republic of the United States. What the fuck? No offense, dude. Like, I know you can bant, you can think, you can throw down. Some people in your audience are fucking retarded.
No, well, this is a good internal critique. You can't bitch, right?
Yes, I can. I can bitch about overthrowing the Republic.
You're saying the system held up. So why are you crying about it, right? The
I didn't
system
say
held
why
up.
I'm crying about it. I said that it fucking held up, so the system is working. I didn't say you couldn't cry about it.
Okay.
Oh my
As a matter of
God.
fact, I agree. Just to prove this, I agree with everything that you just fucking said. Not only should you have been on Twitch, being barred from Twitch made discourse worse. You know,
I love this. We're all in the gulag, and he goes, I don't think you should be in the gulag. Oh, wow. You don't think that should have happened? That is the that is the epitome of a controlled opposition position. This is what trigonometry guys do. Hey, I don't agree with that, with what's going on in the UK. Okay, can we embolden the right wing to have a religious crusade against what's happening? No, that's scary. Anyway, back to raping our white daughters.
who the other heel was? Lecture fan. And that motherfucker couldn't string a sentence together to save his goddamn life.
Whereas when I went on, I just destroyed all of Twitch poll over and over and over again and enjoyed it. The problem is
And
I
you
wasn't
should have
allowed.
been free to do so.
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed to be there to be an entertainer, was I? No
Okay, but
fucking
I
way.
don't think that you being barred from Twitch threaten the stability of the Republic of the United States of America.
Yeah, but the problem is like, do you really have all of these rights and all of these things that you're talking about when it is in fact the case that the way we do discourse is this way now between people and commentators? You have thousands upon thousands of people watching your face right this second having this discourse, which is why you wanted to fucking have it. So if that's the case, Connor, you know that what they fucking did to us when they fucking deplatformed, depersoned, debanked all these right wingers and these wave after wave after wave, you know what they fucking did. And the system wasn't there helping us none.
Sure. And I argued against it now, and I'll argue against it in the future if, God forbid, some fucking Christian nationalist dickhead sees power.
Yeah, I know. It was bad. That's all he has to say. Pathetic.
And he tries to do the same thing.
All right. Next question from Fuck It Button for $5. Here is the game in question. Here is a goalpost. Three sentences later, your goal is in Africa, and there is no stadium to play in. Spur collection A+.
I actually, I remember this one. This was about the government spending money. I stand by every single thing I said. We could have saved a shitload more money while not cutting what we cut or modifying what we cut. So fuck it button, go fuck yourself.
And that would have been the lesser of two evils, right?
I mean, yeah, not killing a few 100,000 to a few million people would have been the lesser of two evils.
And that would have been good, right?
On the whole, it would have been good.
All right. Next one, XPTW XD for $10. Thank you very much. Connor, military industrial complex is based. Also, Connor, authoritarianism is a moral wrong. Please explain how authoritative foreign intervention is moral. Your morals are just a la carte.
No, they're not. There's literally nothing contradictory about this. Our country is started as a liberal and libertarian project. As somebody mentioned in a super chat earlier, it started with a fucking gunfight. It was militias getting into like armed conflicts with the duly appointed government of their time, and yet they still thought that a revolution was necessary. So no, if you think the birthplace of American republicanism and democracy is somehow contradictory with armed conflict, you're full of shit. You don't understand the history of the 20th century. I don't think that military industrial complex is based also authoritarian moralism is wrong. I don't think that the World War II generation going to Europe to shoot Nazis or going to Japan to shoot Imperial Japanese was cringe. I think it was fucking awesome, and I think the fact that you don't understand that means that you're a fucking dumbass. Suck a dick, dipshit.
I don't feel like you really contended with that, but all right.
I don't feel like you really contended with that, but all right. Poke him. Evoke a reaction. I hope you appreciate the sleight of hand that Andrew is capable of doing.
How did I not contend with that? How is being militant contradictory with being authoritarian?
Well,
maybe you could explain it better.
Well, you're saying that the military-industrial complex has an undue amount of authority over the United States government due to the various...
I didn't say undue.
That's what he's saying. He's saying an undue amount of authority over our own government because they are trying to sell weapons and other things to foreigners overseas, like the Ukraine. And so if that's the case, that is a form of authoritarianism. That's a form of a shadow government, which has authority over your duly elected government. And so he's saying this is an a la carte way in which you're picking what is authoritarian and what isn't. That is a shadow government,
I don't think Boeing giving $10,000 to a Republicans campaign so they buy a new aircraft is authoritarianism.
Yeah, that's not what's going on. What's going on is there's hundreds of billions of dollars sunk into black ops all over the fucking world where weapons manufacturers are giving money to people who we think could possibly stall out our enemies, including in the fucking Ukraine and other places. And they have an undue amount, and including Israel, by the way, they have an undue amount of influence over our federal government. And you are just kind of pretending that that's not a form of authoritarianism. If you're a person who wants democracy, then you can't say that having undue influence over your fucking the directives of your duly elected officials isn't a form of authoritarianism. That's what he means by a la carte.
Okay, but you're saying undue? I don't think it's undue.
Then
all he can do is focus on one word, and he goes, "I don't agree with that word." Do you like that? Is so frustrating when someone just goes, "I don't agree." Like, what is? Can we skip to what the argument is instead of just having to be fucking pulling teeth?
Also, just
you're saying authoritarianism is good as long as you like it.
Okay, hold on. Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. How is Boeing lobbying the government to sell weapons overseas fucking with your freedom?
Wait a second. Read the definition again.
How is it fucking with your freedom? So what if you're fucking with somebody else's freedom? But go ahead.
Sorry, I Googled it and I X'd out. Let me go for it. Authoritarian definition. Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of government, at the expense of personal freedom.
Now read definition 2.
An authoritarian person?
And then what's definition 3?
I could screenshot it for you. I literally do not have more.
So you giving a prime definition, right? You will admit that there's sub definitions for authoritarianism. The idea here even for the authoritarianism that you're talking about, you want to kind of waylay it and say, well, it's based around restrictions of freedom. I would say that even tax increases restrict freedom, personal freedom. I would say that all sorts of different things that NGOs do ultimately end up moving towards the restriction of freedom. And the most important part that I would say is that if your government is bought and paid for by NGOs, you can't really trust that they're protecting your freedom anyway. Instead, they're protecting the interests of special interests, right? That's the whole point. The military-industrial complex, which we were warned about by a very progressive president who said you should avoid them, was specifically about this. The fact that they were able to buy up politicians who then will pass legislation to restrict freedom. So like in both cases, I think that the chatter here is making a great point that you kind of need to contend with.
I think you're steel manning the fuck out of them. I don't think that there's a contradiction in fighting for liberalism or republicanism. Matter of fact, so I would make the argument that if you look at the history of the 20th century, I'll try to be brief because it is getting late. If you look at the history of the 20th century, there was really like two competing ideologies. It was like liberalism with mixed economy capitalism, and it was communism or socialism. Those were like the two ideologies that were vying for the soul of the world. And if you looked at the socialist nations, they were infinitely more authoritarian than what we called the proverbial free world. So I think that the Cold War, like, so for instance, like sending money and sending guns to
Shut up, homo.
No, I mean, I think that's funny. Yeah, there's obviously a different context for alcohol in the ancient world, that like alcohol was like purified. So to some degree, like drinking alcohol was more reliable than drinking water.
Why didn't he just make purified water?
Well, right, yeah, I mean, he's God, so he's omniscient and omnipotent. So
do you know why?
Make purified water.
Do you know why he turned water into wine?
No, tell me.
It was a party, and his mom asked him.
Sure.
His mom asked him if he would make water into basically if these people who were celebrating this great thing, which is marriage, which leads to conception, that was worthy of celebration.
Sure. And while we looped on it, the only thing that I'm trying to communicate with that is that sometimes goods can contain bad, and sometimes bads can contain goods.
Oh my God!
Saying something is wholly good or wholly bad is actually oftentimes pretty difficult.
3.5 hours in.
I agree. There has to be nuance with the position.
Good, bad, bad, good. Oh my God.
Yep.
All right. Bucket Button with another $5. Oh, loud. Their man's has terminal TDS. If Trump did not exist, would Connor?
Yeah, I have if you don't like my politics, that's totally fine. My most successful channel is a Warhammer 40K channel. Type in Counterpoints 40K, and yes, I would still exist.
That was your original channel, though.
Yeah. So my original channel, my Warhammer content did better than my political content, so I focused on that for a few years. I broke 100K. I think I'm at like 118 right now. I actually love my channel, and
congratulations, by the way. That's not easy to do.
Thank you. Yeah. And then what I would say is politics kind of ended up on the back burner for a while, but I was actually able to find somebody who was able to help me go full time.
Let's see if this can work out right now. I have to step away for a moment and let me see if this will work. Excellent. I need to step away for like 5 minutes right now, but let me play you from the playlist of a Counterpoints video of how he gave his channel to Brianna Wu. I'm going to piss and shit myself, so I need to go pretty quickly right now. Here we go. And I think it's this guy right here.
All new Peacock Performance View saying, I have no accountability.
Let's try this.
Ever wonder what it would sound like if a greaseball politician and their right-hand man tried to face obvious facts and proven allegations of fraud, lying, and misleading the public just to act like a victim to gain political support? Well, I'm going to show you elite levels of manipulation and an undying dedication to avoid the truth. It's a bizarre phenomenon that I've never witnessed in this way. Our greaseball politician today is Brianna Wu, someone I've already criticized on this channel. She's a mythic level transgrifter who's been at it for over a decade. In the interest of time, let me show you this video of her from 9 years ago, filled with comments about how she can't stop lying.
I got catcalled on the way over here this morning 5 times.
Does being catcalled mean something else in Crazy Town, USA? Does this count? Ugh, what the f*** is that? I got catcalled 5 times on the way over here this morning. Your cat meowing for food isn't a catcall.
Say I'm a nice guy. This is a way of saying I have no accountability. When I turn on my Twitter and I have people mansplaining to me about how my opinions are wrong, just don't fucking do it.
Brianna Wu, there would probably be more people that support you if you just stopped lying about literally everything in your life. So every few years, she emerges from the shadows, infiltrating different areas of the internet until she gets booted. For reasons no one can explain, a center-right political YouTuber, Counterpoints, or Connor, with a gaming channel of over 74,000 subs, is defending Brianna's honor no matter what. It feels like she has some sort of blackmail on him. The only other possibility I can think of is if a demon appeared and said to him, you either have to bang your dad or defend Brianna Wu no matter what she says. Which in that case I'd understand. Outside of that, I don't know what would compel him to put his reputation on the line and say,
because she's my co-host and my peer, and my relationship with her is more important than my relationship to you or Queeman or your guys' audience.
So let me show you how he's slowly becoming a lol cow and essentially forcing many people to turn on him because of his unjustifiable sweeping for Brianna Wu.
It is a shame. Listen, look, okay. I don't even dislike Counterpoints. I like Counterpoints. We've had good interactions, good conversations. But this is shameful. This is like a shameful display to me, bro. You're sat there planning how you're going to most effectively sweep and strategizing the conversation, right? Why can't you just go in and talk? Why do you have to have this overall fucking strategy and make it so slimy and political, right? This is what Twitch poll has become, isn't it? This slimy political operation. I fucking hate it, dude. Also, what's the deal with Counterpoints in this? Is he supposed to be, what, the moderator? How's that going to work if he's helping one side to plan it?
What do you mean? Brianna and Counterpoints have had a show called Counterfire for 7 months now. Everyone knows that. Oh, you thought Counterfire was the name of his channel. Why? Because it hosts a lot of his own personal content? Because the description only has his personal donation links? Some would say it's even Brianna's show.
Why don't you shut up? This is my show.
Recently, and for probably the 50th time in the last decade, Brianna is being accused of lying about her credentials and being overall fraudulent in order to gain political favor. She's probably most famous for her time spent jumping off of burning ships as she full-on will support a really corrupt person just to do a double kickflip as the explosion blasts off behind her and apologizing in time just before she hits the ground. Let's see how this leftist grifter responds to allegations about her character in the face of written and recorded evidence.
If you're a YouTuber and you want to save hours managing your library, you need TubeBuddy. Come check out how you can edit your end screens, cards, and descriptions of all of your videos with just the click of a button. Go now.
I like making my podcast. I don't like making short clips of my podcast. So the AI chooses the best clips, like maybe this one.
Right now?
Yeah, because it knows what's important. And it actually gives you a score based on how well your clip is going to connect with your audience.
That's so cool.
And it also reframes us to vertical depending on the platform. So in fact, if there were 4 of us, it would do that too. It might do 20 or 30 of these.
Wow.
You see these animated captions?
Yeah.
They're automatic. You just set the style, but it's automatically transcribed.
That's crazy. Does it have any editing capabilities in case you want to tweak things?
Yeah, so there's an online editor right over here, and you can edit using the timeline or this transcript-based editor right here. And you can actually upload your own images or video and drag them onto the timeline.
That is a lot of features.
Many of them are one click, like audio enhancements, AI-generated B-roll. It bleeps your curse words if you need that. Right?
I think the AI is definitely going to choose this clip. This is crazy.
All we had to do was talk about it, and Opus Clip does the rest, and then you just schedule it from right here.
Wow, I pay $30 every month just for a scheduler.
Well, right now Opus Clip is just $14.50, the Pro plan.
No, does this have any relevance to you having a degree?
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay,
So
could you explain the relevance to you having
why
a
don't
degree?
you shut up? This is my show. I'm going to talk. If you talk,
It's
over
actually
me,
it's my
we're
show
gonna
too.
be-
Actually, I'm on my stream as well. Actually, so
Oh my God!
Okay,
Let's not.
So we're just going
Let's
to
not measure.
and
Let's
then
get into
we
the
will-
information.
We'll do it.
I'll archive from the web archive. Not
I've
just on
never-
Google.com. There's also
We're going to go one at a time here. I'm going to mute you if you talk over me. So going one at a time, I would need to. In this piece, it talks.
I
about
know they muted me.
not
I'm just
getting a
talking for you
degree.
guys.
Why did?
Like all of a sudden now, you're falling back. I thought you were going to disprove everything I said. I thought this was
So
gonna be...
we can save this until the end, dude. But I know you've probably never read a book on communication law and how this works. But the truth is,
explain to me.
Jesus Christ, Connor, I can't do this if I can't get a sentence out. I'm being calm. He's being a jackass. This is crazy.
It's important to interrupt someone when they start building a whole point based on lies in the first sentence. No, I think I will keep interrupting if Brianna's going to lie.
I'm not lying, dude.
You did lie to me. You did lie to me. Okay, I've been muted again. I've been muted again. She can't hear it. She can't take it.
So that's kind of like the summary of the two perspectives so far. But we're not getting to the guts of it, I guess.
The health,
If we get through
person.
like one back and forth without a factual inaccuracy.
Hold on. I want to finish what I'm saying. So to be clear,
we're not getting to the guts of it, I guess.
If we could get through like one back and forth without a factual inaccuracy from the other side, that would help. Okay, I've been muted again. Crazy. I haven't spoken in 10 minutes.
So that's just muting him. In addition to making their volume way louder than his, they also do their fair share of interrupting him. And even what they say when they interrupt sounds pretty embarrassing.
And Brianna,
he was exceedingly progressive at the time. He was exceedingly progressive, and he did.
Oh my God, mate!
I have told you.
Stating that nobody. Yeah, does it make it less wrong?
Well, I'm trying to make you understand my thought process there.
Huh. But anyways, that's when Counterpoints devoted his channel to a Tranberry just to try and get ahead as much as he possibly could politically. I don't know what his obsession is with politics. It's got to be a narc thing. I don't know what else it would be. Yeah, we're doing okay. Yeah. But sometimes, Connor, isn't the power unchecked? But isn't it not perfect? Sometimes, isn't there corruption? Does that mean we go, well, can't have police, too much authority? Yikes. He hasn't been corrupted at all. He just has TDS, and he worked with Progressive Victory with socialists and communists to get other socialists elected. Not corrupted at all. Very traditional conservative we have in our hands.
To a potential left-wing revolutionary force to destroy America.
I'm fat.
I don't
Getting
agree.
used to it.
I think that the American law enforcement system, the American judicial system, the American military, I think the oath, I think the Constitution of the United States are all guardrails against a left-wing revolutionary force. And I also think
did I make a poopy? I made a poopy. Did I make a mistake? Can we hear it now? You can hear it now.
even if you have the just ruler, the philosopher king, even if you have Marcus Aurelius, you're gonna have Commodus after. Even if you have Tito, you're gonna have the Bosniak Serbian wars.
Okay.
So just because you have a
I'm
good
getting used
ruler,
to it.
doesn't mean that that's gonna be.
Fellas, first solo stream, first shit of the stream. My apologies. We're gonna get better. Yep. This is why I hate doing this. When I'm editing, I get to be all by myself and think about all the jokes I'm gonna make. So thanks for hanging in there. I appreciate it.
Be good. And when you concentrate power, power can go off the rails really quickly.
You're not immune from that with democracy at all, or any form of government. And by the way, let me just point this out.
Well, I like republicanism more than direct democracy.
Yeah, Connor, you were a cop. Didn't you need to have authority?
Of course.
Was it evil?
No, but my authority was constantly checked. Constantly. I had a body camera. I had supervisors. I had to write reports. I had to report to a judge. My power was real, but my power needed to be diffused.
But
by
I mean,
other
don't you think
powerful
cops in the 1920s also needed to have authority?
Anyway, this is what I was cackling about, where he was a cop and, you know, you had authority, and was it perfect? And so I know that you were being checked, but it's not always perfect. There's still corrupt police. There's still corruption that happens. So, you know, this is the same exact criticism that Andrew has about Christian nationalism. Like, yeah, corruption happens, right? But it would be better under a Christian rule.
Yeah, but they also probably should have had their authority arguably checked. And what I would say,
but that wouldn't say that it was inherently evil. That would be a silly statement, right?
Sure, I think Marcus Aurelius was a emperor, which is concentrated power. Marcus Aurelius was still a great man who did great things for Rome.
Mm-hmm. Not inherently evil.
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much, Azzy, for $20. Good stuff, Connor. Brothers of your ilk are built to keep Andrew in check, like another martial artist checking Bruce Lee to stay humble.
Thank you, Azzy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, right, dude.
Say what you want about Andrew. He's a good martial artist.
All right. Thank you, Halus or Haluche, for $9.99. I like this Connor guy. He's so close to the dark side. Careful, Connor. It may consume you.
The liberals and progressives have been trying to corrupt me for half a decade. So far, it hasn't worked.
They've been trying to corrupt him for half a decade, and it hasn't worked. You know? Can't you tell it hasn't worked? He's the man. He's the man he always was. It's not that they're giving him money and he's doing political advocacy for them. He's the same guy he always was. Hello, fellow kids.
All right. Right-wing nut for $13.99. This debate was a perfect example of how Connor's worldview has no guardrails to prevent capitulating to a potential left-wing revolutionary force to destroy America.
I don't agree. I think that the American law enforcement system, the American judicial system, the American military, I think the oath, I think the Constitution of the United States are all guardrails against a left-wing revolutionary force. And I also think at the end of the day, we wrote it into our Constitution, or excuse me, our Declaration of Independence, that when a government becomes tyrannical, it is the duty of the people to overthrow it. I'm a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. I'm a huge proponent of awareness for small arms. I'm a huge proponent of the right to self-defense up to and including against your own government. So I just don't agree.
All right. Airborne Animal for $10. Connor is a chameleon leftist. Charlie Kirk is a hero, and it is wild that this guy thinks that universities are not the center of discourse and debate are for. That is literally what they are for.
So we have Connor, who's on the right, but he's, you know, what happened to Charlie Kirk shouldn't have happened. And if you'd like to see my reaction to that happening, it's on this very channel. So what is the criticism of Charlie Kirk coming from Connor, do you think?
That has nothing to do with what I said. Number one, I don't think you could define leftism to save your fucking life. It's socialism and communism. I'm neither a socialist nor a communist. I'm happy Charlie Kirk is your hero.
He just helps them.
But rhetoric, take Andrew's debate class. Doesn't he have a fucking debate class about becoming a good debater?
You should take the debate class too.
I have actually paid for that. It is $250 for 5 years, I believe. It's very interesting.
What's that?
You should take it too.
Okay. Well, the point is, rhetoric is a powerful tool that is not inherently good or inherently evil, but you can use rhetoric to argue for bad things, and you can sound smart while doing it. So,
did you guys know that? Did you guys know that you can use rhetoric for good things or bad things?
Oh, yeah. Well, be careful of rhetoric, dickhead.
All right. Thank you very much.
What did he say that was worthy of being called a dickhead?
Rewind it.
Yeah, he just said it's wild that you literally think the university are not the center of discourse and debate. That's literally what they're for. This guy didn't say anything bad to you. He just pointed out something which is intrinsically true.
Leftist.
Well,
how could he possibly call Connor a chameleon leftist? Wow. Completely unwarranted.
You did work for Progressive Victory, Connor.
That has nothing to do with whether or not I believe in socialism or communism. That is
You helped socialists and communists elect socialists. Dude, I need something pretty bad to happen to you. I know you have kids, but there needs to be some sort of atonement, something that happens to you that wakes you up and slaps you in the face to acting so indignant to these criticisms.
Everything to do with what I believe about Trump. And I haven't changed what I stopped working for Progressive Victory in October of 2024.
If they were still paying you, would you
a fucking thing about my rhetoric before or after?
Would you have still worked for them if they were paying you though?
Would I have worked for them for free?
No, I mean after, when they stopped paying you. If they had offered you a elongated slot, would you still work for them?
They I'm not trying to put their business out there too much. They basically said that they thought it was a mistake to work with liberals and more.
They thought it was a mistake to work with liberals. Yeah, because they're fucking socialists. Listening to yourself talk. Yeah, liberals. Right. Socialists and communists hate liberals, and it was too liberal, so they got you out of there because of how radical they are. DPK, Deadpool Kid. For $5, thank you very much. We're a nation of cartels, foreign nationals, and corporate lobbyists run the show. Yup, and we can't confront that. We have to always abide by the liberalism that NGOs like Connor works for and gets paid by to go, there's too many liberals here.
Or right-wing people, they wanted to go in a more progressive direction. So they
well, that was all Woo's plan. Woo's fucking retarded hatch plan. That was all him. But anyway, the point here is like, look, I've always given you shit for the Progressive Victory thing, and I think you'd fucking deserve it.
Deadpool Clip for $2, thank you. Reptilian is the proper terminology, folks. This isn't even a reptilian. This is a chameleon whose skin is broken, and everyone can see exactly what he is. It's like not even subversive.
But the thing is like, you can't say these things about Kirk, right? A literal fucking leftist progressive organization approached you and paid you cash to basically shill for one of their fucking, for their big project, which is the anti-Trumpism. And I get it. I get that you're like, well, we had an agreement on this. But ultimately, you know that this was a destructive group run by fucking Woo. Why in the world would you then fucking try to bash on Charlie Kirk for debating with college kids? You're working essentially with the enemy here, right?
Yeah, but I
not only that, but he works with Destiny, who is now doing what Charlie fucking Kirk did. And he goes and challenges people on the Unfuck America tour, which would be hypocritical, but it's really hypocritical that Destiny is Trump levels of bad with Connor's epistemology of what he thinks Trump is bad about and how horrible he is to women. So it's really a double dip of absolute shit.
View the MAGA movement, just as an example within the past week. Mamdani and Donald Trump should be oil and water, right? Mamdani is a socialist, jihadist, Islamist piece of shit who is...
So this is actually pretty clever. So he's setting up Andrew right now where it's like they should be completely opposed, which is a good criticism. That is good feedback. Testing for $2, thank you. Do you think Counterpoints thinks he's not a leftist? He's not a leftist. In the same way that Destiny's not a leftist. But here's the weird thing. With Destiny's lifestyle has to be on the left. He's a Coomer gremlin, as Andrew Wilson has famously called him. So Destiny has to be on the left, which is why when Destiny debates against the left, he does really well. And also, you guys should know that Destiny had a Jesuit upbringing. He went to a religious school. I don't know what to call these things because I'm a dog shit atheist, but he had a religious upbringing. So it's no wonder why Destiny was able to not become like a soulless leftist, but he just caved into hedonism once he left the religion, is what it seems like. Connor, on the other hand, I got nothing for. I actually respect Destiny more than I respect Connor. And if anyone needs more clarification on that, that could be a whole fucking, that could be a whole conversation.
Probably hiding his power level. But one conversation with Trump, and Trump is singing his praises and saying, oh, he's a good guy. He wants what's best for New York. We're actually aligned on a lot of things, this, that, the other. I don't think Trump has a single coherent thing in his fucking body besides he wants to win and he wants a legacy. That's the only thing I think.
You know, this is the problem with TDS. It's like, because if Trump said this guy's a fucking communist and we should do something about this, you'd be like, he's a fucking authoritarian warlord who just can't work with the left no matter what.
No, I
won't make
fucking
any
hate communists. What the
compromises.
fuck? I hate Mamdani more than most people.
But you know that's what the TDSers would do. They'd be like, he's a fucking.
Connor hates Mamdani more than most people. I'm not even going to show you, but guess who Progressive Victory was canvassing for? Mamdani. Guess who Connor worked for? Progressive Victory.
Authoritarian dictators would do. That's not what I would do.
Like, the guy can't fucking win. The guy can't fucking win. No matter what,
the guy could say, hey, I'll work with this guy on XYABC, but you know what? Realistically, he's a socialist, and that's something that we are oil on water on.
Is he supposed to come in and say, hey, the new guy coming in is a fucking piece of shit and I hate his guts? No, he's going to have to take a diplomatic approach.
He said that a week before. The only reason why he changed his tune is because he met the guy.
Yeah, and what is he supposed to do?
He's supposed to say, listen, man, the decommodification of basic human needs and workers owning the means of production, the only way that that is possible is.
So on one hand, Trump is extremely divisive, and on the other hand, he shouldn't play nice with the most detestable of politicians in order to maintain some semblance of dignity in society. $5. Thank you very much. Great show. The guy has no values. God be with you. Appreciate it. Always appreciate the prayers, fellas. My streaming co-host also prays for me, so I do appreciate that, as I stated in my Charlie Kirk video.
Is if we have a slave race of robots. Besides that, that idea should be thrown into the trash bin of history.
Yes,
so
but
if the leader of the right wing, if the leader of the right wing is cozying up to this fuckhead, yeah, that's a mistake.
You cozied up to Progressive Victory.
Right. He's the wrong person for this. There must be some other right-wing centrist grifter that could be doing what Connor is doing. They must exist. Connor, you are the opposite person that should be trying to do this.
Because 70%
of them are communists. 80% of them aren't communists or socialists.
Oh, yes, they fucking are.
No, it's Walsh and his ilk. Destiny isn't a communist. Destiny isn't a socialist.
Destiny. Let's talk about.
Destiny isn't a communist. However, I've shown in previous Destiny videos, and there's a playlist, where when Destiny was canvassing in Nebraska, he was canvassing with communists. Now, communists also shut him down, but there were communists with him subverting and wanting to be close to power. So he did canvass with communists. I don't know if you guys know this, but communists are really subversive.
Vadim, he was a part of that. He's definitely a fucking socialist.
I don't even
Destiny does like socialist policies. By the way, Progressive Victory, they were also courting Dean Parker. These are socialist people as well. We could go
I
through
don't even know if Parker is a socialist.
We can go through an extensive list of these people because I went.
Counterpoint. So other than being anti-communist, how is Counterpoint still on the right? He is anti-communist in name only. He aids and abets socialists, which are communists. So it's just rhetoric.
Through all of them. And yeah, they were fucking socialists. And the thing is like, it's fine for you to kind of cozy up to them for the purpose of the thing that you want. But if Trump is trying to be diplomatic towards this guy, suddenly the TDS takes over. And it's like, man.
I think, hold on. I think this is a thing that's in your community where you guys think that I just like go over there and I'm like, you know what? Actually, everything you guys say is correct, but I'm a conservative. That's not what fucking happens, man. What?
Yeah, what happens is that you're a useful idiot and you don't believe in it and you're helping them. Oh my God. I'm not mad. You're mad.
Watch the content. Pisco and I fucking fight about everything. We fight about economics. We fight about immigration. We fight about this. We fight about that. We fight about progressive.
Pisco has a socialist girlfriend, by the way.
Principles. We fight about whether or not the Republican Party can even be salvaged into something sane after the midterm. He's trying to convince me to be a fucking liberal. And I'm like, I don't agree with you on XYZ ABC. How the fuck could I be on your team? And if I don't change these things about myself, he wants me to come his way and bend my principles to his project because he sees the never Trump paradigm as useful to the left. But I'm saying you can't have me on your team while also saying that socialists and communists are on your fucking team.
That's exactly what happened, you fucking idiot. If I was making a video right now, I would try to not say that. But I'm inarticulate when I'm live because I'm getting mad. I'm finally getting mad. And I'm not mad. You're mad. I'm not mad.
It's mutually exclusive.
No,
So fuck yourself.
well, wait a second. It wasn't mutually exclusive. Okay.
For
Yes.
a general
Hang on.
election voting block, not for like actual long-term political projects.
Yeah, but the thing is like this is a long-term political project that these people
No, it's
have.
not. If Trump would have lost, he would have been gone, and the Republican Party would have needed to reform.
No, the progressive victories of the world wouldn't go away. They would just move to a different project within those confines. And the thing is,
the left doesn't go away. They brood in the shadows.
Is that the enablement of such organizations is detrimental to everything you ultimately believe, and that is in fact the truth, Connor. And you should,
I don't know. I don't think that's true. And
it is true. You know what? You know they're working on a new project now.
No. A progressive is not necessarily a socialist. There are progressives who just believe that they want black people to.
Nope. No. Nah. That's like the agnostic argument. All progressives are socialists. Because they call themselves progressive liberals. And you want to know what a progressive liberal does? Takes away all of the things that makes a liberal. And this is the criticism of liberalism. I definitely understand that. Takes away the individual aspect. It all of a sudden makes it more like Marxism. Now, all progressives, Hassan Piker is called a progressive. So imagine if we were like, well, not all race realists are white supremacists, right? Like they get to have this colorful blending of language where a progressive isn't necessarily, they are. Fuck that. I'm not giving them that at all. Not 1 inch. Absolutely not.
Stop getting the fuck kicked out of them by cops.
I'm not disagreeing. But progressive victory and the heads of progressive victory, I've heard their speeches. And one of the things about me, Connor, is I do pay very close attention to everybody's content in this space, including yours. I am well informed on the things that you talk about, well informed on the things everybody talks about. That's my fucking job. It's what makes me excellent at it. And the thing is that I knew what the heads of progressive victory were. I knew exactly what they were proposing. I knew exactly what they were fucking doing. And I knew exactly when Brianna fucking Wu was trying to cozy up to me to get me on team progressive victory. And I told Brianna Wu to go stuff her penis up her ass, right? And
fellas, let's fucking go for Andrew Wilson, okay? Because for the last 5 years, you really couldn't say that. And we can now that we have some semblance of power. And it's going to go away at a certain point. And fellas, if you like creating content and you don't know what to do or how to do it, talk to me. I'll help you. We need as many warriors on the front line creating content right now, creating parallel structures, as Eric Orval says. So yeah, really, we need to put the pedal to the metal right now in terms of content creation. But that was hilarious.
And I would rather fucking hang myself than be a part of such an organization. Just note, it's because I knew the involved people who were there were actually many of them avowed socialists, including Wu himself.
Brianna Wu probably hired me in September. I think she was gone by December. So there was a whole year where Brianna had nothing to do with the project. And realistically,
all Connor did was devote his channel and split it with Brianna Wu, who also said it was Brianna Wu's channel, who also said it was John Walker Flint's channel. Brianna Wu's real name is John Walker Flint, which is the name of, I don't know, the villain in a 90s psychological thriller that wears someone's skin. Baboosk, $2. How can I get your help on making my channel? Well, you can contact me on X, and I will politely football coach you and be very honest with you and not make your content like my content, but help you make your content like how your content should be for yourself. Kind of coaching, kind of consulting is what I hopefully want to also get into with this, since I've had some semblance of success. But yeah.
It became the DGG show.
Yeah, well, Wu was trying to build a coalition for this place based around the fact that right-wingers were giving validity to the socialist politics of progressive victory. And that is a very socialist organization, if you listen to what the heads talk about and why they wanted to infiltrate the red pill, because they were trying to move young men out of the red pill and over to the left.
It's the white dudes for Kamala campaign. That's what they were trying to do. And that's the useful idiot that is Connor.
That's why they were courting conservative or middle-of-the-road content creators, because they thought that they could bribe you, get access to that younger audience, and move them left. And I knew all of that shit, Connor. And the thing is like, you shouldn't have. Yeah, I don't think you should have done that. It was terrible, honestly. It was a terrible thing to move into. And these fucking people were avowed socialists. And it's like, for you to say that Charlie Kirk is somehow a bad guy, it's like, or Trump for working with a leftist, it's like, you did the same shit on that.
Yep.
Okay, the difference here is I'm not pretending that there was never a time. Never. You will never be able to find I might say, Vosh can be funny, Vosh can be charismatic, he's rhetorically good. Ever. You will never. Serious. I'm not.
Listen to Connor in the face of unavoidable criticism, go through the Rolodex of excuses. Something that's always fascinating to me about the human brain is how it can start trying to make your mouth speak before it knows what it's going to say. Listen to that again.
Pretending that all of a sudden, like, there was never a time, never. You will never be able to find I might say, oh, Vosh can be funny, Vosh can be charismatic, he's rhetorically gifted. You might find me saying stuff like that. You will never, ever find me being like, you know what? Vosh is right on policy. We have a lot in common on policy. That clip doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it does, but you do give validity to an organization who can use your name and its face in order to say, hey, we have right-wingers on board with us too. And they were promoting you as a right-winger. And that isn't bullshit, because they were. You were the right-wing portion of the organization.
I believe in Edmund Burke. I believe in the Constitution of the United States. I am a Republican philosophically, so they can use me that way.
Yeah, I get it, but that's what they were using
for. There's a dozen never Trump Republicans left in America, and I am one of them.
There's a never Trump Republicans. How useful is that politically, really? DPK, $5. Thank you very much. Connor, Destiny, this ism doesn't align with my ism, Normie. They sound the same, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, rhetorically, he's just catering to the left. He's not... Who is he? Do they exist? Who is he? I guess it's like James Lindsay types, which James Lindsay has commented on a Connor post. That really would be, honestly, looking at, I'm blocked on every, I've been blocked from him so many times on Connor's X account. But if you look at his comment section, it's just fucking shitlibs and leftists. It's, who would you, so like, I was nervous about growing too quickly because I didn't want to be like Insane Clown Posse, okay? And have these fans that I'm like, oh God, I don't like my fans. I was really nervous about not liking you guys, okay? I was really nervous about that because I had heard, because I was going more right wing and, I'm a growing boy. I'm still growing into the, it's not like I've always been right wing. I've always been racist, 100%, but I haven't always been like right wing in this kind of mindset. And I'm just always endlessly impressed and proud. And I will die on the sword for my community and what you guys say. If you guys say things that are messed up, I will die on the sword for it. If you've seen me on X, it's pretty effortless for me to do that for you guys.
Okay.
Well, come to the dark side, Connor.
I have to fight the dark sides on both sides, and I'm not going to lie, it gets tiresome.
Oh, he's so noble.
All right. 512 Texas Red for $10. Thank you very much. Connor is such a disingenuous POS. Out of one side of his mouth, he says Destiny makes discourse worse. Then out of the other, he defends him when he said that conservatives should fear for their lives.
It is that.
Okay, I'll explain this one too. Although, Jesus Christ, it's getting late, guys. Although I'm happy to hang out. I'm having fun. I'm getting tired. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I swore 2 oaths to the Constitution of the United States. One is a law enforcement officer, one is a military member, and I took those oaths pretty seriously.
Shut up. So, I guess I'll let him go for a little bit, but I did forget to include something in this that we're going to go back to. So we're at the tail end right now, but after this is something I forgot to show you guys. That is absolutely hysterical.
Because I either potentially had to die for them or I had to kill for them. And part of that oath is effectively being willing to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If you try to overthrow the Republic of the United States, I hate to say it, but you're definitionally my enemy. So I'm happy that Trump failed. I'm happy it's not a civil war. I'm happy that Mike Johnson said that Donald Trump is done after his next term. I'm happy that we don't have to go to bloodshed. But yeah, if you advocate for the overthrow of the United States of America as a republic, then you're definitionally my political enemy. I hate to say it. So,
but not the socialists and communists that he helped try to get elected. Dude, you're such a piece of shit. This is why people hate you.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, MKK I3D 15X for $10. Trump played the Democrats by making the Epstein shit look like something that was going to hurt him so he could get Dem support, also to demand their release. And they did. Trump played Dems like a fiddle.
I think this might be the dumbest person in our chat. Why would you call Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to get them to get off of the petition? Why would you bully Thomas Massey if you thought that it was going to be good for you politically? MK Kid, you might be the dumbest person here.
All right. XBTW for $5. How is paying hush money to Stormy Daniels as a private citizen a crime, Connor? You just equated that to Epstein accusations. You're struggling, bro.
I think the way that it was a crime was that he used his lawyer to pay the hush money. That way, Stormy Daniels wouldn't know that the story was being bought by a third party, and then he reimbursed his lawyer from campaign funds. So I think it was a campaign finance violation, and then equated that to the Epstein accusations. You're struggling, bro. Listen, man, I'm just saying, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, if it cheats on its wife while its wife is pregnant, if it hangs out with pedophiles, if it talks about banging young chicks, then maybe it banged underage.
Even if this is true about Trump, okay? Even if it is true. I encounter this with the left all the time. Their criticism, they act like is unique and doesn't happen in the other direction or anywhere else, which is why it's never compelling to me. But let's see. Syphilin, $5, thank you. Less ICP, more like TISM Tism. Oh my god. That was so TISM of me. I hope this isn't recorded right now.
Chicks. So
quite the stretch.
Pedophile duck.
Quite the stretch.
Well, we'll see on December 18th.
All right. Jake P for $4.99. Leftist policy requires force because no one actually wants it. It requires stealing to make it possible, which kills the incentive it steals from.
Perfect.
I think that this person would probably think all taxation is theft, so I don't. It's okay.
A lot of forms of it are.
All right. Gaming Trucker for $5. Sorry, but that's not true. I don't agree 100% of Tim Pool, but he always brings all sides to debate and have a conversation.
Okay. Here is what I accidentally forgot to include. I forgot to include AIDS kids in Africa, and that's my fault, okay? As a professional streamer, you should expect more from me, okay? Now, where should I start this timestamp from? Let's try it out. Let's do AIDS kids in Africa from right here. I don't think
but a million podcasters, including myself, could get shot every single year, and that would not be an
whatever they can fucking do to us, they'll do. And they've done it over and over and over and over. And you're going to pretend and sit here and say, oh, the system has worked fine. It hasn't. It hasn't checked any of this shit at all. The only reason that this is even happening with X, and the system's trying to shut that down too. There's Fed spoofs, everything else, all over that place, doing everything they can to put political pressure on Elon Musk to shut down speech they don't like, just like they did with Facebook and others. And that's going to continue. And so the thing is like, no, the system's not checking any of that. And ultimately, Christians have no fucking reason at all to believe that leftists are going to suddenly become benevolent when one of our great speakers was just shot in the fucking throat for talking. All he did was talk to people, and they shot him in the throat, Connor. And I know that you knew how bad it was because you were the guy who sent me the original video before almost anybody else had it in their hands. So the thing is, man, is like, look, you can play pretend all you want. You can play pretend that the system is working and it's checking and balancing, but it's not. One side has been unfairly treated for 20, 30 fucking years, okay? And they finally do something about it. They give just this tiniest amount of pushback, and these people are in such fucking panic mode about, oh my God, the fascists are coming to take things over. They're going to destroy our fucking republic. They're going to destroy everything. And it's like, no, I don't think so. I think that they'll get in power, and if they're in power, then our enemies aren't going to be able to fucking continuously destroy us over and over and over and over again, deperson us, right? Debank us, make it so that we can't live, we can't have jobs, we can't do any of these things. And Connor, they've been doing it to us for years. So it's like, we have every incentive to move our people into positions of authority. And there's not a fucking thing that you can say that's going to change any of our minds on that.
Once again, I don't think that I've advocated that you can't create a political block and then advocate for
no,
power.
You're just saying that if you get it, you're going to do bad things. But prove it, fucker. What's the proposition we're proposing that's going to fucking do a bad thing?
That Christian nationalists have disproportionately promoted and supported Donald Trump?
Well, not Fuentes.
Right.
Not
but
Fuentes.
Do you think that
he supported Kamala Harris?
Okay. Do you think most Christian conservatives have supported?
And so now he has to. Oh, this is going to be good. Baboosk. $5, thank you. Isn't it the leftist in the 70s who wanted no age of consent? We have covered that on stream. Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir were proud PDFs, and modern philosophy is them. I was an existentialist in my early 20s. I was an existentialist probably all throughout my 20s. And I read that they had sex with their students to the point where their students, and then convinced their students to commit unaliving. And I read that and I went, I don't agree with that. But then I kept like reading into like existentialism, oddly enough. And the answer is yes. But let's continue.
Supported Donald Trump.
Yeah, Christian conservatives overwhelmingly have, yeah.
Okay. So what I would say is, you're saying y'all haven't, or we haven't done anything. We haven't done nothing. Okay, number one, I would just recommend reading the John Eastman memo. I would just recommend checking out December 6, 2021. I would just recommend that. It was actually an attempt to overthrow the Republic of the United States for bullshit reasons. I would also cite the 2022 tweet where Donald Trump basically said, with such proven mass voter fraud, we can suspend all laws up to and including the Constitution of the United States, despite the fact that he still hasn't proven outcome determinative voter fraud in or out of court. What I would also say is that drone striking in the Caribbean without an authorization for use of military force, and also declaring like Antifa and narco-terrorist organizations unilaterally from the
This isn't about your TDS, Connor.
You asked me a question about how Donald Trump has violated things that are actually.
I didn't ask you anything about Donald Trump.
Okay, this is the right wing, and these are things that are potentially.
Yeah, they voted for him because
dangerous.
Kamala was worse, dude. Come on.
Okay, well, then again, we don't agree right there, because with the slashes to PEPFAR and USAID, Doge was supposed to cut $2 trillion. They cut $10 billion. It just so happened that the $10 billion that they cut wasn't, scaling back the military or technocratic reforms or any of that kind of shit. What it ended up doing is causing like mass death in North Africa and South Africa and West Africa.
Oh my God, we didn't send all of our money to third world nations, Connor. Oh
Nobody said that, but it's not exactly Christian to kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people through.
So this is what's annoying to me, okay? This is an atheist argument. So Connor positions himself as a deist, okay? But then he's going to do the classic meme of he doesn't believe in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, okay? But he's going to try and hold Andrew Wilson to that morality of like, if you care so much about human life, I believe this is his argument. What about the kids dying in Africa that are no longer going to be getting USAID, okay? So are we ready for this? We're going to wind down with this, okay? But I love how Andrew Wilson handles this.
Competence, is it?
Africa, Connor. What about the AIDS kids in Africa? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Andrew,
Fuck you.
Andrew,
bro.
hold on.
Fuck you.
This is crazy. No, Andrew, this is what's crazy.
Okay,
I don't claim that I believe in Jesus Christ as the judge of my spirit. I do not. And yet what you just did is you were like, oh, hundreds of thousands.
See, that's why but he still says he's a deist or he's like agnostic. Like, that's a fucking atheist argument, dude. Come on, stand on 10 toes. Don't act like you believe. I believe in a God, but I'm going to weaponize the God you believe in. Like, that shit pisses me off. Testing, $2. Thank you very much. Not sending money to Africa is child murder. Well, do you think you're being sarcastic? Oh, one man's sarcasm is another man's Connor's actual fucking argument.
Thousands or millions of people died due to incompetence from the right wing. Who gives a fuck because they're not American? That has, there's not a single fucking Christian instinct that you could cite to me that has that as normal behavior.
Wait, Connor, how much of a Christian's money do you think that they're allowed to keep?
So this should be every Christian's argument. If this argument is posed to you, how much am I allowed to keep? Because I have to apparently be, unlimited. Like, I have to give all that I have because I'm a Christian and Christians are known for giving and they're trying to hold that against you. How much am I allowed to keep of what I have? Do I get to decide what I give?
How much Christian money are they allowed to keep?
Yeah, how much is it? Like, if you're a Christian and you have money, how much of it in Connor's world is the Christian allowed to keep?
Well, I mean, I would say tithing at 10%. So biblically, you're allowed to keep 90. I would say that in a state, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. I would say you pay what taxes are in your country.
Okay, I see. So we're allowed to keep 90%.
You want a specific number? I got specific tax brackets for you.
There's no 10%. There's no 10% tithe requirement, by the way. I don't know where you came up with that. That is common that people will tithe 10%, but it's not a requirement. The thing is, though, is that if it's the case that you're rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but you're in a representative government, and it's the case that people are saying to their government, hey, we don't want you to send our fucking money elsewhere. We want to keep it here with our people group in order to benefit us. What the fuck is wrong with that, Connor?
Weirdly enough, I want you to hear me and I want your chat to hear me, okay? I have no problem with the United States ending USAID or PEPFAR and returning $10 billion to the national coffers. What I do have a problem with is that we did not look for anybody to fill the stopgap. So as a result of just turning off the financial spigots, we are arguably killing hundreds of thousands or millions of people. If you wanted to ask Europe to do it, if you wanted to ask the Africa.
DPK, $5. Thank you very much. I don't think Connor knows the condition of human suffering is the natural basis of existence and survival. Well, I hate to break it to you, but apparently you don't believe in God, asshole. Nice try. Hypocrisy. You can't acknowledge reality. Your religion, but he gets to have his hands and he gets to have it both ways where he still believes in something. He's still a deist, but they're just gonna levy these like atheist nah, dude. Just stand on it. You're an atheist. Get fucked. That's like James Lindsay shit. I can't support it.
Africans to take it over. If you wanted to ask the Asians to take it over, I would not give a fuck.
So
the
our
incompetence is killing people.
Yeah, I got it. So the United States has to make sure that the entire world is fed and clothed and taken care of and has their fucking AIDS meds.
I actually, hold on, Andrew. I want to point this out because I do enjoy speaking with you. I actually just said the exact opposite
And then contradicted
of what you
it.
said. I said.
And then contradicted it. Yes. So the thing is like, can't have you speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
I said that we could off ramp our international programs, and you said that we need to perpetuate. That I said we needed to do international programs in perpetuity.
So your whole thing is like, why didn't we get another country to have their fucking money go over and take care of them instead of our money, Connor? That's the
right. So what Connor is saying is the ethical thing to do is we have to keep paying that money until someone else does. That's the epitome of an entitlement. I don't know what this man is conserving.
Or moral position in Africa, so you don't kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people, Andrew.
So let me get this right. The more moral position here for you, Connor, is yes, we can greedily keep our money away from the starving African AIDS children, but only if we can convince another country to spend theirs. How's that a moral proposition, Connor? That's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
Because some of those countries are in Africa and would probably be interested in the program. It's $10
billion
a year.
Why wouldn't they just do it themselves? Why do they need us in the
So every class, why can't they just do it themselves? Why do the people of the African nation, the African continent, why do they need money coming from Guatemala? No. Money coming from Papua New Guinea? No. Money coming from certain countries to help keep them alive so we continue wiping their fucking asses. So if it's not IQ, so mind you, by the way, they're too stupid to keep themselves alive, but we're definitely going to trust their COVID numbers where all of Africa only had 238,000 COVID deaths. Which isn't Western, man? Which way, Western, man?
in the first place, Connor?
Because we're more competent and we have more technology and more medical personnel.
So what he's saying is true. Let's see if he can connect the dots.
Any other country on the planet.
I see. So the thing is that the Africans need us to take care of them then, or no?
They need competent technical people to run these programs.
And did we have charities that used to do that through Catholic ministries that would go set up wells and everything else in these nations?
Guess who the #1 recipient of USAID funds was? Can you guess?
Yeah, it should be.
Guess who the #1 recipient of USAID funds was? And Andrew Wilson knows that he's going to invoke that it's Christians. So Andrew already says, yes, and it should be. But Connor is still in debate mode and doesn't even know that a concession is being made.
No. Can you say the name of the #1 recipient of USAID dollars?
I don't know who.
It's Catholic Charities.
Yeah, it should be.
That's right back to what he said. He's always steps ahead in the conversation. I respect the fuck out of it.
That's what I just said. It should be.
It was.
Yeah,
until
it should
they cut their funding. You know what they were doing with that money?
Yeah, but the thing is,
what they were doing with that money? They were running hospice and orphanages worldwide, and
the government's not supposed to fund private charities. We don't even need them to. And they're not supposed to steal people's fucking money at the barrel of a gun and tell them that they have to fucking feed starving children in Africa. That's fucking insane.
Didn't say that you needed to.
And by the way,
imagine
having the moral proposition here. By the way, Connor, how could any Christian not do this when then you go on and say it was the Christians who were helping them, which is ironically hilarious.
Christians get the money, Andrew.
They were getting. The Catholic Church has tons of inflow of money, man, that they dispense in charity all over the world. The fact that they weren't getting some USAID fucking funds is not going to make their fucking mission any more critical or less critical. They'll still be able to raise funds for the starving AIDS African children, Connor.
Andrew, I am telling you, memes and conversation aside, hundreds of thousands of people have died. Arguably, millions of people will die.
Dude, how pathetic is this appeal to emotion right now? People are dying. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Are you talking about like Palestine and Ukraine right now? Like, that might work for Palestine. That might work for Ukraine. It never fucking works for Africa. No one gives a fuck, no matter how much they virtue signal.
In the next 3 years.
Well, you know what, Connor? I'm going to tell you something.
Fuck them, they're African. Lol.
You have,
fuck them, they're African. It's funny. It's funny when AIDS kids die.
If you have
fun, yep. And then he has to invoke racism, you know, like a little bitch.
If you have a people group that continuously thinks that by having sex with babies, for instance, will cure HIV, right?
Oh yeah, fuck them. They're all backwards barbarian savages.
That is what they do in South Africa. And I do love bringing that up when I'm arguing with a black person on the internet.
The thing is I didn't say it's funny. I think it's tragic.
Well, I mean, I think you laughed a minute ago.
Well, no, what I laughed at is the irony.
This is what they do. Connor acts as ridiculously as possible, and how can you not laugh at him? He goes, "Oh, you're laughing as we're talking about something serious." Such a fucking snake, dude.
Nature of you saying that somehow we're doing something horrific or awful by saying that we're not going to take and dispense the public treasury, which is designed for our people, and dispense it elsewhere. It's not for us to do. That's the public treasury for our people, Connor. That's what it's for. It's like when they raid Social Security so that they can fucking then give that trough to somebody else. It wasn't meant for that. It was meant for people who paid into that system to get the benefits of that system. That's the correct and moral thing to do. Not rob those people and then give them to other fucking people, Connor.
Yeah. So this is what annoys me. Okay. Number one, the expense of the public treasury for what was cut was 0.16% of the federal budget. It's fucking piss in the ocean. It's 90.
Right. So we didn't have to take that money away and kill all these people by taking that money away. So the same continent that only tracked 238,000 COVID deaths, so they have 1.4 billion people. They have over 1 billion people in Africa, and they were only able to track less than 240,000 COVID deaths, when in the United States, we had over 1 million COVID deaths. What do you think happens when we send money to Africa? Okay. So we've been sending money to Africa, and there's still fucking babies to get rid of their fucking AIDS. I'm sure they're utilizing those funds very effectively. I'm getting mad, so this stream is going to end pretty soon. I'm getting too saucy. I'm getting too mad. I only have so much patience. Usually I can edit all of these things out.
It's like it's less than a cent. It's fucking nothing. Okay. Now, on top of that, the United States is the largest global commercial empire on the planet. Our security systems, our military, and our soft power is responsible for 70% of the world's global trade. You can look at unilateral, bilateral, multilateral alliances, and we are responsible for probably $70 trillion of $100 trillion of economic activity. You are the beneficiary of PEPFAR and USAID through soft power. You are the beneficiary of American empire. You are the beneficiary through international trade that gives you consumer goods that makes the life of the medieval king look like a fucking modern peasant, okay? The problem is that explaining geopolitics is tough because the average American is a fucking idiot. But that doesn't mean, just because you're confident, oh, taxes are going overseas.
If the average American is a fucking idiot, then what is our democracy? Do they ever have a response to that? If the average person is a retard, then why are we giving them any say in what goes on in the country? Right? Like, isn't that a case for like a monarchy when you think about it?
That's going to non-Americans. Fuck them. Just because you have a simple conception of things doesn't mean it's correct.
I'm sorry. What's the complexity that's going to show that us sending money to the AIDS African kids, how is that going to assist us in geopolitics exactly, Connor?
Yeah, how is giving money to the AIDS African kids? How's that going to help us exactly? Can we get some of that money reinvested into our own country?
Because we get access to like the rare earth minerals that are in West African nations.
There you go. We should help the AIDS African kids for their rare earth minerals. Mind you, this is coming from Connor, somebody who's very moral. We're not going to cure their, and then it really comes out. Then his neocon really comes out. We're just going to help them to get their rare earth minerals, which we could do without saving their lives at all whatsoever. Baboosk, $2, thank you. Democracy is indeed a god that failed. Yeah. That is an illusory god for sure.
Oh, you mean the same fucking minerals? The same minerals that we would have access to anyway, because we have the world's largest military on fucking planet Earth, and we can do whatever the fuck we want.
We don't have access to them anyways.
Connor,
you cited.
Oh my God, Connor, we have access to whatever the fuck we want.
You cited the Barbary Pirate Wars. You cited the Barbary Pirate Wars. Why did the Barbary Pirate Wars happen again?
Over slavery.
Enslaving who?
Whites.
Americans, right?
Yeah. Well, specifically whites. Like, I think if they were stealing black slaves,
were being attacked by random people.
Yeah.
How did we solve the Barbary Pirate Wars?
Well, we used, I think it was mark and what was it, mark and appraisal or whatever. We basically made sure that we had privateers who went out and killed them.
Okay. So we had, and then we also negotiated a truce with the Ottoman Empire that they would do what's within their power to reduce Barbary piracy, right?
Yeah, that was the case, but that was because we'd already destroyed them by utilizing basically privateers and paying them a bunch of money to go kill them.
So the reason why I'm saying this is because it was a combination of hard and soft power.
It was mostly just hard power. We had killed most of them.
No, bullshit. We obviously you wanted to tell me about the treaty that we signed with the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, and
is that hard power?
Yeah.
So, anyways, fellas, that's the debate about Christian nationalism. Okay. Now, this is Cool Vic's second time hosting a debate, and it's Andrew Wilson and Counterpoints who have been debating online for pretty much among the longest, really, in terms of people that still actively participate in debates. And I mean, one could say to jump in and try and keep it on. You gotta let them go. You gotta let them hammer it out. But fellas, I gotta start to wind down because I'm really mad right now, and I'm gonna start saying things I shouldn't say. But I'm starting to set up parallel structures. Okay, I didn't do Rumble this time, but this is gonna be the new stream setup for Artie and Fist as well. Which, fellas, how do we like showing the chats on stream finally? Am I right? Pretty sick. TPK, $5. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If we provide money and provisions to the world, then we might as well rule over it. Well, that's the thing. We don't have to give them anything. We could take it. And when you think about it, as like a world superpower, we act very feminine. And so that was the appeal of Trump, where we're starting to act like we have our balls back at the very least. Now, I really am no longer MAGA at this point. I really just don't, I don't really back Trump at all. So I'm looking for where this whole thing is going. I think the Trump train has officially ended. 2016 Trump was insane. I used to watch the president speak. I've never done that before because I knew they were going to lie about what he was saying and I wanted to hear it. And he was calling out Antifa. Now, was it novelty? Sure. Did it feel good? Absolutely. It was fantastic. But now at this point, things are getting kind of confusing. I mean, we look at Europe, we look at the UK, we look at these other countries, and we see how bad it is. And we realize that there is no such thing as playing nice with these people. They will take advantage of your kindness. They will use your religion against you. And a reason why I take the position I have is because I don't want anything holding me back when I fight these people, okay? There's still, you have to understand, okay? When I say I'm an atheist, it's not like I'm mad or I give a fuck. I'm just a generally aimless person. I generally just don't give a shit. So I'm not mad or oh, you shouldn't believe. I'm the epitome of a reactionary. I react to things. I could just sit there and stare at a wall until something happens and then I'll react to it. Okay. It's not this negative position, but oh my God. How do people do this for so long? What is that? Almost 3 hours? Hard 2.5 hours, fellas. I'm going to start building up the Kick and the Rumble. I'm going to try to start doing that for the Artie and Fist streams. And now the advantage is that we can both. So right now, the way it's set up, only Fist can control things and set things up. Now we can split it up a little bit more and be a lot more attentive to what's going on, which is going to be way easier on him. It's going to be way easier on him. So we'll be able to go to Rumble and Kick at the same time. So I'm going to have to build a parallel platform. It feels like Rumble. I don't know yet. I guess I'll just have to keep doing it. I just can't think too much about it. But at some point, they're going to take over. And they're going to go through the history of my channel. I've actually thought about just routinely deleting. Well, not deleting because it's backed up on Rumble. But routining, just kind of doing a wipe of my channel. And just putting it onto, oh my God, listen to my voice. And routinely putting it onto Rumble. To keep the channel safe. I don't know. Things are going really well right now. YouTube likes me for whatever reason. And so I'm trying to diversify what I'm doing. I'm probably going to do a members only stream to talk about a little bit of drama. And so I can really carve out some of my positions. And so I can really yell into the microphone, which I try not to do publicly. And I'll do it editing wise, but there's some things that really piss me off lately that I want to clarify. But what about Odyssey? So Odyssey is way cleaner than Rumble, and even I believe Kick. So if Odyssey had like more people on, so I mean, I guess the goal is to use YouTube to then build up these other platforms concurrently. That's why I'm saying like in a parallel way. Odyssey used to have a feature where it would just automatically sync with YouTube to put my videos on there. And I did that with a fair amount of videos. So I do have an Odyssey. But apparently YouTube stopped that. So I would have to manually upload, which is kind of a pain in the ass to do. I might even just do that to like talk to chat and just do that in the background and upload that because it's really just a monotonous pain in the ass. But Odyssey, I like how it feels. I like how it looks. Black Pill Devin. What's his last name? Black Pill. Devin's on there. Devin Tracy's AIU. Devin Stack does really good on there. Oh my God, that guy's been putting in work. A lot of you guys in the comments have told me to check him out. And I mean, I don't have the time at this point to just like check things out. I'm making content, but he's built up a strong Odyssey platform. It's like fucking 28,000. He's got to be like one of the larger content creators on there. And his streams do really well on there. So I like how Odyssey looks and feels. So definitely that. Yeah, YouTube killed any auto uploads to other platforms a year or more ago. Yep. Putting the stuff on there on BitChute and Rumble automatically for a bit. Oh, wait a minute. Is there a way to automatically put my stuff onto Rumble from YouTube and onto BitChute? Is there an automatic way to do that? Devin pilled. Wait, if there's an automatic way to upload to an alt platform, please let me know. Because I've been manually uploading my stuff to Rumble like a fat asshole, and it is tedious to say the least. As for that, all right. Well, I'm winding down. I have to go to sleep at some point, and now I'm all wired. Now I'm all pissed off. But now I'm more comfortable doing a stream. I'm still figuring things out. Probably gonna do a members only tomorrow. So I'll just hang out for a few more minutes and read the chat. See what's up with the fellas. I could program an AI for it. I have a computer that can handle LLMs, which is why I got it. I just don't like taking the time to put in the prompts. Sweet mother of God, it is rough. Oh, it is not enjoyable. Need for Speed for $20. Thank you so much, my dude. I appreciate it. Book list, Milner Fabian Conspiracy, The Culture of Critique, The Yisrael Lobby, and U.S. Foreign Policy, A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind, The Camp or the Saints, The Tea Diaries, and The Sheep, Moo, Cow, Sheep, and Their Lies. So I don't read, but that's good for other people. A lot of people think that I read because the way that I speak. I don't learn from reading at all. And everyone hates to hear that. But at the same time, I've met a lot of people that read a lot that are fucking retarded. I wouldn't discourage reading, okay? But if I was going to do a mud sports debate of reading versus not reading, I would take the not reading position. See? Wouldn't that be a fun debate? And then what would be really fun is me losing debates. And practice losing. It's because one thing I like about Andrew Wilson, the way he positions his debate course, his debate university, is he considers it to be verbal warfare, verbal jujitsu. And it really is. It's politically how things get done with power and being persuasive. But it's jujitsu. You got to get your ass kicked. So it would be fun to like have fun losing debates and like not really trying to like debate bro, but like try to pull out the most ridiculous arguments possible would make debating fun again. And I guess ideologically I would like to start with fun things like boobs versus butts, right? reading versus not reading. Really the dumbest topics possible, which I think would like, if you just saw that, you would check it out like in the algorithm. If you like, what is this? How stupid could this be? And then it would be us laughing, making ridiculous arguments, and also getting mad. I want us to get mad at each other like men, drink beer, and have a handshake afterwards, you know? Really restore that kind of debate environment that just doesn't really exist anymore. So yeah. Boobs, butts, hips. No, that's not. Oh, what is this? See, here we go. I do RW debates if you hosted already. That's what I'm saying, bro. Make it fun. And then I also want to collaborate with Cool Vic, because we have similar. We're just, I don't know. Do you ever have the feeling of like, oh, that guy seems cool, I want to talk to him? It's so pathetic to try to make friends nowadays, but it's not making friends. It's like collaborating with content creators, but I don't know what I want to do yet. I just know that we have like a good enough crossover, and he's like seen my stuff, I've seen his stuff, but now I sound like a pussy. So yeah, sometimes when you're winding down, I have sleepy brain right now. So, well, fellas, it was fun. That was me reviewing a debate. So I think when I do solo streams, it's just going to be dedicated to kind of one thing like that. Especially, I wouldn't even mind stream sniping an appropriate thing. Like I could have stream sniped this last night, but I wouldn't want to do that. I'd want to send him all the traffic as humanly possible. But if it's a piece of shit that I don't care about, like some annoying lefty, I'd stream snipe that as it's going on live. Or if there was like a piece of content that's like just been released, kind of like how Jake Rattlesnake does when something's just been released. I'd have fun streaming something like that. I'm going to keep rambling, but I have to go. So, fellas, thank you very much. I think this was a successful first solo stream, and I might do a members only stream tomorrow. It's hard to tell you when I'm going to do a stream because something might pop up, and I might have to make an edited video. But thanks a lot, fellas. Very much appreciated. And fellas, awesome. See, this is why I need Fist. I'll just keep rambling. I don't know how to say goodbye. I don't know how to end these things. All right, I'm leaving. Have a good night. You guys rule.